that their speedometers are reading correctly. I'm here to request that the Township Police Department mount an aggressive campaign to increase compliance with the legal speed that's appropriate for this residential area. I'm convinced that drivers who believe there may actually be consequences in the form of Patton Township preferred stock with a penalty payment would probably change their behavior. A police presence, especially during the morning and evening peaks, would show the majority of drivers that speed compliance will be enforced. Frequent, visible presence itself is a deterrent that implies consequences that signs and paint stripes don't. I appreciate that VASCAR is awkward and much less effective than radar, but it can work and it's used elsewhere. Getting any constructive solution out of the Pennsylvania General Assembly, like authorizing radar, is highly unlikely. We need to use the tools at hand. My neighbor Jean is gone now. This fall, I become an octogenarian. I respectfully ask you do something to solve a 40-year problem that I can live to see. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
It's not necessarily the time for us to ask questions, to interact, but I've taken copious notes, as I'm sure members of our staff have, if not physically, then mentally. I do recognize you from speaking on this issue before, and I was actually on the board when we tried several of the problems, and our engineer then approached the problem very openly and creatively, but it sounds like it is time to revisit that and put on the creative thinking caps again.
And if you want, Betsy, the chief actually has some thoughts on what we can do, because Phil helpfully sent us his remarks ahead of time, so we had some time to think.
Yeah, so
Well, perfect, I'd love that, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so since the manager did let me know that Mr. Park was going to come this evening and speak, I did pull our our traffic enforcement on Kirklewood. Since I'm doing the July report tonight, I just did from July 1st to the current time. And since that time, we've written 16 traffic citations on Kirklewood Drive. 14 of those were for maximum speeds, and then 2 were for equipment violations on vehicles. So we are using the V-spec that we have in our cars. As you mentioned, it would be great if we had radar. We don't. We know we're probably not going to have it. In my career, I've been here for 25 years, so it'd be great if the legislature would give us that tool, but we probably won't get it. The other thing I want to mention, though, this is a good time. I was going to talk a little bit about it in my report. We do have state grant money for aggressive driving enforcement and occupant protection grant money. So as the students return, we know traffic, obviously volume will increase, speed will increase, particularly top trees and a few other areas of note. So you will be seeing more enforcement from Patton Township Police here in the very near future, beginning with move-in weekend this weekend and throughout September. But we will make sure we add Kirkwood to the list.
Football Saturdays is one time. I just don't leave the house. The north entrance to the stadium goes right by me. Thank you.
Thank you for your service in the past and your service tonight. Thank you. Super, and thank you, Chief, for your diligence as also being on top of things. We're moving right along to presentations and public hearings. And, oh, for some reason, that's right. I must have 2 copies of this. One is marked up with yellow highlight, and the other one was not. And so this one is not, so I apologize. The yellow highlight helps me focus on the main points. So we are actually going to have an update from SCLO Library, and I welcome Margaret Gray and Ellen. Yeah. I missed the last name.
Mattis.
Mattis, of course, and I knew that, yeah. So if you could also introduce yourselves as you speak, and the role that you play. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Margaret Gray, and I'm here this evening with Ellen Mattis and also our library director, Lisa Reeves Collins, and we very much appreciate this opportunity to present an update on the SCLO Regional Library. Ellen and I are privileged to serve as your representatives on the SCLO Library Board of Trustees, and we have the enviable opportunity to be part of, on your behalf, an essential and vital community resource, one that is exceptionally well managed and directed under the leadership of Lisa Collins. And first and foremost tonight, we want to express sincere appreciation and thanks to Patton Township for its ongoing support. Your support and investment directly drive high community engagement of library services. And as has been demonstrated time and again, we know that libraries strengthen communities by connecting people to information, to opportunity, to technology, and to one another. And we are truly grateful for your support. So I'm going to provide some usage information specific to Patton Township, and then I'll turn it over to Ellen, who's going to share some programming highlights. So first, physical circulation and usage. Patton Township residents checked out over 82,800 physical items in 2025. I feel like I need to say that again. Patton Township residents checked out over 82,800 physical items in 2025. So when you consider the Patton Township population of almost 16,000 residents, this number of 82,800 affirms a large and robust community usage of library services. Looking at the Center Region physical item circulation in the whole, Patton Township resident checkouts accounted for about 18%. That means just shy of 1/5 of the entire physical circulation items in 2025 were checked out by Patton Township. Also extremely noteworthy. This momentum is continuing in 2026 with 52,031 physical items circulated to Patton Township residents from January through July alone. It's really important to note that these numbers are one data point and do not include any electronic resource checkouts such as electronic books, audiobooks, magazines, movies, or music. So let's turn to digital circulation. Patton Township residents checked out 20,815 items on Overdrive alone in 2025. And as you may know, Overdrive is the digital lending service that lets library patrons borrow ebooks and audiobooks. It's essentially a digital version of the library collection. This number does not include usage of a huge variety of other electronic resources available via sclolibrary.org, such as Hoopla, Canopy, and the New York Times Online. So added to the physical circulation, these digital numbers further affirm significant usage of library services by Patton Township residents. So lastly, in terms of usage, just mention that Patton Township has a remote book return at the Park Forest Pool. 6,647 items were returned there in 2025. Already in the first 7 months of 2026, returns total 4,567 items. And this is all to say that the remote book return is a great service for residents. So, in summary, library usage by Patton Township residents is strong, stable, and steady, with signs of increasing numbers, all pointing to a very well-used and appreciated community resource. So library services definitely do go well beyond what I have described, and Ellen's going to provide an update on programming.
Thank you. It's pretty amazing. Thank you for having Margaret, Lisa, and I this evening. I'm excited to start first with the children's library notes. The Children's Summer Reading Program was another great success this year for the SCLO Library. I have 2 young daughters myself that participate in it here in Patton Township, so I love being able to report on this. But overall, it was a very busy summer with 108 babies and toddlers getting their introduction this year to summer reading. That's just in that very small age range that they participated in the program. And their grown-ups shared 3,359 books with them just during the summer season this year. Overall, 1,594 summer readers participated in the program just between the ages of 3 and 12, logging 62,111 reading days overall this summer. That means that each summer reader read for at least 20 minutes on each of those days, which means that over the course of the summer, they spent 1 million minutes reading. Overall, they earned over 165,000 tickets, which kind of awarded them the opportunity to win some exciting prizes, and we have to, of course, relay our gratitude to you, Patton Township Supervisors, for providing some of those prizes. And over the course of the summer, 35 teen ticket volunteers donated over 561 hours to hand out those tickets, helping the children and the children's staff to spend their time hosting special events and running a really bustling space during the summer season. The summer really kicked off with a lot of magic. There was a kickoff party with balloons, and it ended with puppets and dinosaurs, and it was overall just a really fun experience for the children of the community. For the teen and adult aspect of the library this summer, a record number of teens did register this year for SCLO's adult teen and summer reading program. So that's 370 teens that registered, which again is a record number for that program this year, and 481 adults registered for the summer challenge this year. All of these programs took place on the second floor of the library. It was a really bustling space again up there this year with a weekly community puzzle, music in the stacks, art in the galleries, and different crafting workshops. And there were a lot of different ways for people to stay entertained on the second floor this year. Nearly 5,000 adults and teens did end up attending more than 57 library programs this summer, which was anchored by this year's annual Book Fest PA celebration that's held in conjunction with Arts Fest. And then looking ahead, the fall children's calendar is now posted online. I know that you were all given a copy of the calendar for the upcoming program at the library. And just stay tuned for announcements about the different programming that will continue to be available at the library, including services from the Lion Mobile Clinic and different educational visits, as well as one from the Pennsylvania Department of Insurance, and more music in the stacks. Thank you again for having us, and Lisa is here if you have specific questions about the library or programming.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I read that it was my lifesaver when my kids were young. Our library back home, or back east, I should say. So it sounds very exciting, a great way to start the evening. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, thank you. Keep it up, and congratulations on our 2 representatives. Great to see you, and I love that you love what you're doing. Great. Let's see. Oh, we've got our CNET report, and this is going to be, I believe, the first time that our new director, Stephanie Yeager, I forgot your first name, is going to be presenting. So congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Stephanie Yeager. I've been with the organization for over 20 years. Do we have my PowerPoint?
We do. Larry's going to pull it up.
Fantastic. Thank you. Ms. Robb is on our board. She's our current board rep. I'm sure Ms. Whitman knows me from our candidate interviews, and you probably remember me as well when you've come for candidate interviews. I was behind the camera at that time.
I think I was too nervous.
Yeah, now I'm feeling that now, being in front of the camera. So at your seats is our publication of our 2025 annual report. There are additional copies at the rear of the room if anyone from the public would be interested in taking a copy, for their own records. So everything I'm pretty much going to talk about tonight is from our 2025 year. You can go to the next slide, please. In 2025, CNET produced a total of 496 programs. And I will say that that's done with a professional staff of 7. And currently, due to our executive director, Cindy Hahn, retiring, me taking that position, we have 5 of 7 of our staff are currently in new positions, including at the rear of the room. I have Tiffany Brion, who has been with the organization 10 years, and she's our new operations manager. And Jess Markovich on camera is our administrative assistant, and everyone on staff produces as well. So we're done nearly 500 programs with a small but mighty staff, as Cindy always called it, and an additional rotating complement of interns that we have about 5 interns every semester. At this time, 15 of our 17 members are participating in the closed captioning service. Patton Township is one of them. It's something that started quite a while ago, but is almost at its completion, is Comcast's upgrade of the way CNET goes live from remote locations. So unlike news organizations where we can kind of pop up anywhere for any amount of time, we're location-based for that. And so that is almost complete, and that includes this very room. So we can go live on Comcast from here. And with that comes the replacement of our broadcast server. So we're getting a big technological upgrade on our end. It's not something really that you will see much of, but it may allow us to provide additional services in the future as that comes online. Next slide, please. In 2025, Patton Township participated in 28 meetings and work sessions that CNET covered, and that includes this Board of Supervisors and your Planning Commission on Monday nights. In addition to that, you produced 45 bulletin board messages, which in our funding formula adds up to 4.5 programs. So each message is equivalent to a 1/10 of a program. So that's how we balance that out in our funding formula. And in 2025, Patton sponsored 6.9, nearly 7% of all of CNET's programming that year. Next slide, please. Here's a graph that shows your usage over the past 5 years, which does impact the funding and what we look at for the amounts that every organization pays. So we look at a 5-year average so that there's no one year that you have a spike or a dip that greatly affects your dues to us, so it's a little more predictable for our members. So as in line, if you look at 2025 here on the far right, 36.5 programs is what it added up to in all for our when you add those bulletin board messages and meetings together. Next slide, please. So as I just mentioned, we do use a 5-year rolling average over those years to look at the data for how much you'll pay in a given year. In that time, Patton sponsored about 7.5% of all of our programming. And your dues are paid by Comcast franchise fees. It doesn't have to come from taxes. So there's a big contract and a process for negotiating these franchises with the municipalities, which then result in a pass-through from users to the participating municipalities such as Patton, and then you pass funding on to us in the form of your dues. And I will say that typically it doesn't use anywhere near the amount of PEG fees that you receive, or the franchise fees, I should say, from Comcast. Unfortunately, those numbers are in slight decline as people continue to cut the cord for viewership of Comcast cable. If you have internet, it doesn't those fees don't come out of that. So it is really important to organizations like us that people continue to subscribe to cable television. It's specifically that service. Here's a graph showing all of our member usage for those 5 years. Patton you're at a tight place for 6th. You're at 6th place next to State College School District. You're this orange bar, sort of a little right of center at 7.52% of our usage over those years. So if you want to have a hot race with the school district, you can talk about some interesting programs that you might want to add on to get a little edge on them if that 5th place feels like something you feel competitive about. As I mentioned briefly, the supervisors meetings are live on Comcast, Channel 7. And I actually missed, you have your supervisors and your planning commission meetings are live on YouTube as well. So you will, you are the one organization that was sort of grandfathered in with the planning commissions receiving that service. And so if someone is not at home in front of their TV, they can pop on YouTube from anywhere. And that's in addition to our later on-demand service where we index the meetings with agenda points to make it easy for people to watch. And but YouTube is captioned as well as our final product. Finally, our programs do end up online on demand at cnet1.org. That's our website. And they're posted within 48 hours. They have those clickable agenda points that make viewing easy. You can find the point you're interested in. If you want to skip my presentation later, you may do that and jump right into the next agenda point. It'll be captioned with all my flubs, and they're online for 24 months. Next slide, please. And your meetings are on Wednesdays at 5:30, so this meeting is live right now. Saturdays at noon, Mondays at 6 a.m., and Tuesdays at 12 a.m. And this is all in addition to being on demand online for up to 2 years. So on Wednesdays, right now, your supervisors meetings are live, and on a week that you're not meeting, your planning commission would fall in those time slots. Next slide, please. Additionally, our programming appears on some over-the-top, what they're called over-the-top boxes and things like Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. We have channels on all of those. They make it a little bit hard to get to on some of those, but we have tutorials for you to aid in locating our programming, and all of those videos are available on our website on cnet1.org. Next slide, please. This here shows the average viewers that you're getting for your meetings. So for your supervisors meeting, you're having an average amount of views on our website is 56, and your average YouTube viewership is 62 hits per meeting. Your planning commissions get slightly less on our website at 54, but a little more on YouTube, 65. So that's just average numbers for those each meetings, and then you combine those, so if you put the cnet1.org and YouTube views together for your supervisors and compare those averages to the total for Patton Planning Commission, then you have an average viewership of 111 online hits per meeting. So you're doing quite well. You're definitely reaching out to the community. You're definitely getting your meetings out there and having people watch. So I hope you see the value in our services. And this is not including our cable broadcast. So Comcast does not share those numbers with us. So all I can really source is numbers for your online hits. So thank you for your participation in CNET. We value your partnership. And as I said, I've been with the organization over 20 years, and not because it's easy, but it's because I believe in our mission and bringing the government to the people. In these times with all the shorts and media, social media posts, it's it's easy to think that a short clip is all you need to get the whole picture, and that's really not true. Making the entirety of a discussion available is critical in providing a window to the truth of what's going on. And your commitment to organizations such as CNET and SCLO Library, which is another partner of ours, contribute to making Patton Township an enjoyable place for all. So I applaud you for your dedication to this purpose, and I look forward to working with Patton Township for many years to come. Thank you very much, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the board? From the audience? Okay, Ms. Robb, of course.
First of all, I want to thank you, and we always say thank you to the crew, because they never get their just due. They're here, rain, sleet, snow, with us, and they're here when we have the long meetings. So thank you, we appreciate you, and as we go into another year, we look forward to, you know, just being a part of with CNET, and also SCLO. Lisa, we thank SCLO as well. Thank you, Stephanie, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much, and I know that our crews feel that appreciation from you. We've received your goodwill, so thank you for that.
Any other comments?
Heidi, do you have something?
No?
Oh, you
Okay.
looked like you did.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no, just hold.
Yeah. Kudos.
Okay,
And
thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. Awesome. So we're moving on now to a public hearing, and this is for the Patton Crossing Phase 2C conditional use application. And on a personal note, I would like to say that I entered my career as a township supervisor at the beginning stages of this project. So when someone told me it would take a long time, I thought, but now I understand that it does. It's good to see it progress. So on a personal note, welcome.
So if I could suggest,
Yes,
if you
please.
could open the public hearing on the conditional use request, and then I will go through the conditional use and what we're looking at for you.
Okay, I think I need to use this.
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing is now open on the request for conditional use, and we're going to turn it over to Amy Farkas
Yes.
to lead us through the process. Great.
So I will walk you through the conditional use request for Patton Crossing Phase 2C. So on May 19th, Pantera submitted to us the conditional use application for drive-through uses located at the Patton Crossing development along North Atherton Street. The proposed uses include a 7,482 square foot bank and a 3,000 square foot fast casual restaurant with associated infrastructure. The restaurant will be a single-story building with a full-service drive-through window and dual order points. The restaurant will be on the northwest corner of Phase 2. The bank will be a two-story building with customer service area, offices, walk-up ATM, and a single-lane drive-through window. This property is situated in the planned commercial and mixed-use overlay 2 zoning district. The applicant seeks the conditional use approval for the drive-through uses, which is a permitted use in the mixed-use overlay 2 zoning district, subject to conditional approval. We've been through this before, if you remember, with the Cava restaurant. And the board is allowed to put reasonable conditions related to the use on the site, but not related to external traffic. So the Planning Commission reviewed the conditional use application at their August 3rd meeting. They voted to recommend approval of the conditional use application for Patton Crossing Phase 2C. So we have a couple of conditions that we're recommending and the Planning Commission agrees with be added on to this. Number 1, that a crosswalk shall be placed at the dumpster location at the Cava site. Number 2, that signage shall be placed at Meridian Street and Roxbury Street, indicating that Roxbury Street is a restricted intersection. That's a right turn only out onto Atherton. Number 3, that directional signage regulating on-premises traffic for Cava, the bank, and the new proposed restaurant shall be 5 square feet in area and bear no advertising icons or emblems. Number 4, internal traffic control measures should be explored to reduce pedestrian and motorist conflicts. And this last condition, number 5, was added after the Planning Commission meeting to address some, I I would say concerns, but that's maybe not the right word, that we have with the stacking and queuing analysis. And that is that a post-construction stacking and queuing analysis will be completed within 6 months of opening. And that's just because right now we're looking at probably 2 restaurants that are going to be very, very busy, and then the bank, and we don't know exactly how much traffic. We have an idea from the traffic study, but we want to see in real time what those 2 restaurants and the bank do, and have the opportunity to look at that in real time and see if there's any adjustments that need to be made. Again, we think that those restaurants will likely be pretty popular out there, and there is also the grocery store that's already there, so we want to make sure that the motorists and the pedestrians are safe in that area. So our zoning ordinance and the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code require that you hold the public hearing, which you're doing tonight, and that you must take action to approve or deny the application within 45 days following the hearing. So after this evening, we will actually have you take formal action on this at your next meeting on September 9th on the findings of fact, if you're in agreement with everything that we've discussed here this evening. So with that, if you have any questions, we can actually answer those from a staff level. We do have representatives of the developer in the room. And I will say that that number 5, that last condition was discussed with the developer and their engineer prior to the meeting. So this is something they're very much aware of, or should be.
So,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, please, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
didn't know if it's appropriate with the, I tried to look for a diagram or something. I just was trying to understand, what's the crosswalk for the, is it to the dumpster? What's the point of that?
Tony, do you want to explain that site?
Yeah, do we have a plan?
Yeah, we can pull it
Yeah.
up.
So Tony Fruchtel, I'm with Pentair Engineering.
Thank you.
We're the civil engineer for the project. And just to tack on to a little bit of what Amy said, the conditional use request was submitted along with a land development plan for Phase 2C, the uses that are described in the conditional use. Assuming this moves forward, then in September we'll be talking about that, what that plan looks like. And so as part of that, we met with staff at one point because they reviewed that and said, hey, in conjunction with the conditional use and how's this site going to operate and what's it look like, we have some concerns. So that condition was essentially one of those concerns. If we get the plan up here, I can show you, what that was. But essentially it was just making sure there was a crosswalk to access for the Kava folks that will be using the recycle refuse area. It crosses the drive aisle, so.
Hold on, we're looking.
Sure.
Is it in the condition?
So it's for the employees?
It is for the
Okay.
employees,
That
yes.
makes some sense. And it's not just the dumpster, it's other,
It's
recycling.
Yes, it's all, everything they will be using, yes.
Should be where?
At the end of that,
At the end of,
this whole file.
oh, okay.
Maybe not. Maybe we don't have the plan here, I apologize.
Okay.
I thought I did.
But essentially, that's what it was. There was a dumpster area, it's dedicated for the use of Kava. And the recommendation from staff was, hey, can we get a crosswalk in here? Just let people that know that are in the, drive aisle, hey, people will be crossing.
All right. Are you trying to get a map?
We're trying to get the plan
Okay,
up.
thank
yes.
you, because I can get it sometimes and then it goes away. Great.
I mean, I saw one map, but it wasn't enough detail for me to see
Yeah.
any of that.
Right.
That's why. Like traffic
I was
flow
trying to
and
see
stuff.
what I
And
had.
and maybe I missed it, but I tried looking.
Yeah.
So, and as also, as part of the conditional use request, there was a stacking queuing analysis submitted to the township, reviewed by the township engineer. We got comments, we've responded to those comments. So, part of one of these conditions talks about, making sure that the site works. And we're already involved in that, in that part of addressing that condition as well, like making sure that everything's safe, traffic flows, nothing stacks up and blocks anything else, so.
We're pulling it up.
I got phase 2B.
Because I'm not even,
Well,
This is why Nicole's here.
No, not really. Stand by.
Go on.
While they're waiting, Madam Chair.
Oh, yeah.
Can I ask a question while they're?
Yeah, sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Do we know the name of the bank that's coming?
We know the name of the bank, we anticipate the name of the bank and the restaurant, neither of which is under lease at this point. So we're anticipating when we review, fingers crossed, the land development plan in September, we'll be able to identify both.
Great.
Feels a little premature to put that out there at this
Yeah,
point.
that's
because
fine.
it may not happen, so.
Okay.
It's worth the wait, so to
It's worth the
say.
wait, okay.
Ara Kavanjan, one of the owners and developers.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome back. So I might take this opportunity to ask the question, thinking back to the original discussions and the connection through Patton Crossing with CATA bus service.
Yes.
Of course, that is not in your bailiwick entirely, and I know, I'm sure you've had some conversations with CATA, but it does seem sort of ironic to me that, or in a way, personally, a little bit sad that the restaurants are both drive-through. When part of Patton Crossing, the envision was that neighbors could walk to a restaurant, and I think it's very important that we establish the safe transit of pedestrians who happen to be in the area and walking. Sadly, not that that's in your control. But do you have any thoughts on getting so many bids for drive-through restaurants? Is that really what we're experiencing on North Atherton? It seems to be a lot of that.
Well, I think part of the answer there is, at least part of this development when it came in was in a commercial zone. That's this front part that we're developing first, working our way back.
Yeah, for sure.
And the restaurants that are coming in, they're regional or national restaurants. And most of them won't operate without a drive-through. So I think in the interest of for the developer's sake and keeping the project moving, getting someone in there, having a drive-through for especially in this area.
Yeah.
You know, further back in the development, there was some thought about restaurants being, integrated with other commercial spaces.
The living spaces
That might
and
be
commercial places, yeah,
different,
for sure.
Probably what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
At least for this area up front, that's.
Yeah, and I suppose it shouldn't have surprised me, given what we see on the rest of North Atherton, so thank you for that. It was just,
What you need?
We'll make it work.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, so this is a little bit older plan, but essentially there's a dumpster area right over here. This is the Kava building, and there will be a crosswalk right across here. That was one of the requests based on the conversations with staff. As another example of one of the changes that was made that's not reflected on this plan, there was an existing crosswalk from the site that there's stairs that get folks from Atherton Street to the back of the site. That got moved past the stop bar over here. There was a request to rotate these parking spaces so that there's just parking on either side here, so that these drive aisles don't have parking on both sides. So you will see that on the next iteration of the plan, but that's just an example of one of the conditions saying, hey, let's look at this holistically and make sure everything does in fact work. It's safe for pedestrians. The drive-through lane, it goes around the perimeter of the site, so it keeps people out of the middle here. The bank's in the middle, tries to keep as much traffic on the drive-through away from that. So those are a couple of features that work towards that end.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great. Any other questions, concerns? Any questions from members of the audience? And so we are, this is simply our opportunity to ask those questions, then look at the plan in more detail based on answers and so on, and make decisions about approval at our next meeting.
Yeah, so what you'll want to do is you'll want to close the public hearing, and then you'll direct me to present the findings of fact for your action at the meeting on September 9th. You'll make a motion to do that.
Thank you. You'd think I'd know that by now. Okay. So I hereby close the public hearing.
You should do a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So now, we've closed the public hearing, and we're going to turn the rest of the...
You're going to make a motion to direct staff to put the findings of fact together for you.
Okay. I'll accept that motion.
So moved.
And I'll accept a second.
Second, I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Now we can turn it over to Amy.
Yeah, so
Thank
what
you.
you'll do September 9th, you will see the findings of fact for this, and then you will vote to approve them or not approve them as you see fit. And then you will see the Phase 2C land development plan at your September 23rd meeting, because
Okay.
that will go to the Planning Commission on September 14th.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
Thank you. We'll see you in
Yeah.
September.
Yeah, thank you, and good luck. You know, as we had a rough start with COVID, I think, following the initial establishment of Patton Crossing. Thank you very much. We're moving on now to the short-term rental report. And I'm assuming you'll take that.
I will take that, and then we also have our zoning officer here tonight. She graciously came to answer any questions that you may have, because she is the one who deals with these day in and day out. So when the board approved changes to our short-term rentals back in May of 2025, you asked that we present a report to you a year later, giving you a status update on our program and any recommended changes that we have. I will say that we are grateful that we had this opportunity to have time to actually evaluate everything that's been going on. It's been an eye-opening experience, I think, for us. We have residents that have been gracious enough to call and tell us when there have been issues with the short-term rentals in their neighborhoods. We've seen and learned a lot, and the report that we put together reflects recommendations that we think will help protect our residential neighborhoods and have a path forward for us. So the report is in your packet. I'm going to talk through the recommendations in the report. The first recommendation deals with non-owner occupied short-term rentals. And if you remember, we had a lot of people in our meetings talking about their small businesses, these non-owner occupied short-term rentals. The biggest issues that we've had with short-term rentals stem from non-owner occupied short-term rentals. When we talk again with these owners, they stress that they don't live in our community. A lot of them live outside of the community in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and other states. And they stress that they're running a small business, which is similar to a hotel. And since these are being classified as small businesses, we don't allow small businesses in our residential zoning districts. We allow low impact and non-impact home-based businesses. So we feel that we should be regulating non-owner occupied short-term rentals in the same fashion that we handle hotels. Hotels in Patton Township are only allowed in the C1 General Commercial District, C2 Planned Commercial, CT Commercial Transitional District, PC Planned Community, Toft Trees and Oakwood, because they both have hotels in them, and the PAD Planned Airport District, the non-residential area. So we would recommend that if you're supportive of this change, that we allow any current non-owner occupied short-term rentals in our residential zoning districts that are properly permitted by November 1st to continue as a non-conforming use until the property is sold Or if the rental housing permit lapses for any reason, that property would then revert back to being a single-family home and would not be allowed to be a non-owner occupied short-term rental. Additionally, if a rental housing permit is not received by November 1st, that property could not operate as a non-owner occupied short-term rental. It could be a long-term rental, that's consistent with our zoning now, but it could not be a short-term rental. Next, on the owner-occupied short-term rentals, and I will say, have not had a lot of issues with the owner-occupied short-term rentals. We feel, again, these are keeping with the home-based business regulations that we have. We feel these should be allowed to continue in our residential zoning district, providing that proof of ownership is provided. You have to show that you live there at least 6 months out of the year, and proof of ownership would be your driver's license, your voting registration card, a receipt for medical bills, a utility bill, that kind of thing. And one of the issues we've identified with the owner-occupied short-term rentals is that a lot of these are in communities that have homeowners associations that do not allow short-term rentals per their covenants. So we're going to add a line to the permit. We would propose that the line be added that you have to get a sign off from the HOA indicating you are allowed to have a short-term rental in that community, because we don't want to create problems with someone's covenants in their homeowners association. The next one after the non-owner occupied, owner occupied issue that we've dealt with quite a bit, and I know this one's driven Nicole crazy. We've had a lot of people who have been creating what are known as accessory dwelling units. And accessory dwelling units are basically a way of providing an additional dwelling unit on a property. So people are creating an apartment over top of a kitchen, or in a basement they're putting cooking facilities in. We found a lot of these in our short-term rental research that we've done in the township, and where we found them, we've been making them take out their kitchen facilities, their cooking facilities. The interesting pickle in all of this is that the state of Pennsylvania is working on legislation that would allow an accessory dwelling unit by right in all residential zoning districts, because they see this as a way of providing more attainable housing. And when I say they're going to allow it, they're going to supersede our right under zoning to not allow it. So I spoke with Pennsylvania Municipal League earlier this week, and they feel this legislation is going to move forward in some fashion. I'm not sure if it'll be this session or next session. And a couple of us have been working, State College, some of the other places in the state have been working to try to give us the right to ban them as short-term rentals. So while we're waiting for these clear answers from the legislature, we think we need to take some kind of action. So we're proposing that we allow one accessory dwelling unit per owner-occupied dwelling unit. So this could be an attached in that basement, or attached as a garage or internal, and that this ADU could be used as a short-term rental. So this would mean that each property can have no more than 2 dwelling units on the property. And we further would like you to ban the ADUs from being used as a short-term rental in the non-owner occupied properties. So if it's a non-owner occupied property that has an existing ADU, they would have to either remove it or they could turn it into a long-term rental. But that gets away from people using it solely to they live in Pittsburgh, they have 2 properties they rent out in State College for football games. Additionally, we just want to point out, because this has happened so much, any ADU that was created without proper permitting from either the Township or the Center Region Code Administration would be subject to violation proceedings. We've had to go to court with at least one of these over the last couple of months. And then a couple of these last couple of items have come to us through the residents who, again, have been so kind to call us and tell us and alert us when there are issues, because we cannot be everywhere. So we have a lot of concerns about occupancy of a property and how many people are staying in these. So in the research that Nicole and I did, we found that there's language that we should put in that just says the occupancy of a short-term rental dwelling may not exceed the occupancy limit set by the Center Region Code Office. A short-term rental may not advertise an occupancy greater than that established by the Center Region Code Office. So that would fall then under the code regulations, so we're not stuffing 20 people in a single-family home for one weekend. And again, going back to the residents, one of the challenges with our current system, we have the point system in place, is that to assess points, we have to have a citation from the police department. Our police officers have great discretion in how they handle issues, so a lot of times we're going out on a noise complaint, but we're not necessarily issuing a citation. So we want to change that so that we also want to make it easier for residents to register a complaint with us, because a lot of residents say, I don't want to bother you. We know you're busy with, if it's a big football game weekend or graduation weekend, we know you're busy. We don't want to bother you. And I completely appreciate that, and we understand you're being kind in that situation. But we'd like to create a way that residents could actually report online through our website, a portal that they could report a complaint to us. We have this right now for the police department. You can report an anonymous tip to us. And then we would also like to change our system so that we can add ordinance violations directly into the point system so that Nicole can follow up on complaints. We don't need a police citation, and that we can address the #1 neighborhood complaints we get. Brush, grass, and weeds not being maintained, noise issues, nuisance issues, trash issues. That's probably one of the #1 things we hear about from folks is trash. Parking regulations not being followed, snow and ice not being removed, and also any zoning issues. In addition, we want to continue the point system that we have, because that is our mechanism where we can give you 5 points and you have to come in and meet with us and give us a plan of action to address the issues that we're seeing. And at 10 points, we can revoke your permit itself. And then speaking of parking, again, we get a lot of complaints from folks because it's not just the people staying at the short-term rental, it's maybe the guests that they have coming into the short-term rental, and they're sort of parking everywhere. So we want to make it clear that people have to follow our parking regulation when they are doing short-term rentals, which says, in all single-family residential districts, there shall be provided either in a private garage or on the lot, space for the parking of 2 automobiles for each dwelling. Additionally, we want property owners to have to inform their guests that are staying at their property that they have to adhere to all posted parking restrictions, and they have to refrain from blocking driveways, mailboxes, fire hydrants, and intersections. Because we have a lot of issues with people blocking mailboxes, intersections, parking the wrong way on streets, and we get a lot of calls about that. And then our last recommendation, and this relates back to, again, Nicole's time, because she is spending so much time on these issues. Right now, our rental permit fee is $30, and this covers a pittance of her time on these issues. So in looking at what our neighbors are doing, we'd like to recommend that we actually raise our fee to be $150. And we would recommend this change go into effect in 2027 for the fee only, just because you do your fee schedule at the beginning of 2027. So those are our recommendations. Nicole is here to answer questions. I know we have residents here, and we have some folks online as well that I think have questions and some things they'd like to say. And what we'd like to do tonight is, if you're comfortable with these changes, we would like to actually make an ordinance, a short-term rental ordinance. We'd work with the Planning Commission on that. We'd like to bring that back to you in October and then go through the process to have a public hearing and have action on it. That would be why we would set the date for the permitting by November 1st, because that gives us time to meet our statutory requirements. But we feel this is a path forward, but I also want to emphasize, we feel that, and Nicole and I worked on this report together, and the chief also looked it over, and the solicitor, but I think this is an exercise we should do every year. I think this is an evolving situation, issue in the township, and I think it's good for us to continue to keep an eye on our regulations, keep an eye on changes that are happening, keep an eye, of course, on what the legislature is doing to see if we need to change things. So I would propose that whatever we do, that we continue to give you a report, a status report in August of every year moving forward.
That's a great idea.
Oh, sorry, there's one other thing that I did not mention, thank you, Larry. And that is, and we had this happen, under the accessory dwelling units, we're gonna make it clear that you cannot rent out recreational vehicles, camper trailers, and tents, because we actually had someone who rented out an RV in their parking lot, in their driveway, and said, close to Beaver Stadium, and it was literally an RV in the driveway, and that's not what we wanna do.
Okay, before I take, should I take public, I guess, comments from the public first and then from the board?
yes,
Okay,
yep.
whatever. But before I do that, I just really want to publicly thank Nicole. Nicole's been in this position, what, 2 years? Zoning? 4? She does it so well, seamlessly, and I'm embarrassed I hadn't realized it was 4 years. So you just took it over naturally, but you have brought a discipline and a detail to this job that I think is commendable, and we need to shout about it. So thank you for that, and, working closely with Amy. So given that, I'll ask, are there any comments?
Ms. Whitman, there's a comment online.
Matthew?
Matthew.
Oh, thank you so
Follow
much.
him?
Okay, great. You know what, I'm used to seeing it on here. Yes, I will. So Matthew, and I apologize, I can't read it. I don't have it on my screen. Matthew, would you like to make a comment? And so state your name, where you live, street, maybe, and...
So I'm Matthew Weissel. I am a resident of Patton Township in Park Forest.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you all for the work that has been done on this. I truly do appreciate it. I know that I see, and I know many others see, the short-term rental issue as the most pervasive issue that we have had as residents, at least in my time in Park Forest. So I appreciate that. I did have two questions. One regarding parking and the second regarding the point system. So the first is with parking. I did read the agenda and the new parking item that's on there. I will note that it's not unusual to have 5 or 6 cars at a short-term rental, during that time. And usually there's 4 cars on the road, parked on the road. Could you clarify what the regulation is for on-street parking? Because it's typically 2 cars in the lot, and then the rest on the street.
Tyler, do you want to address when there's no parking restrictions, what people can and cannot do, I think is...
Yes, most of the short-term rentals that we see, especially in the Park Forest area, the roadways don't have any type of restrictions necessarily. So without, short of us having some type of no parking or, from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or something where you cannot park a vehicle there, as long as the vehicle is properly registered and inspected, it is allowed to park on the street. When it's facing the correct direction, there are a few things, obviously it has to be facing the right direction. So we have cited some vehicles at some of these short-term rentals for against traffic, for sometimes blocking mailboxes. We've made contact with sometimes with the owners, just asking them to move them to park them legally. But short of any other restrictions enacted by the township via ordinance, if they're parked legally, there's not much that the police department can do about that on street.
I know Amy has mentioned that this will be an ongoing issue to review. I would like, if that could be reviewed, the on-street parking issue. Personally, I feel like with short-term rentals, it's kind of a different situation. And so I understand that there may be a need to park on the street, but I think it would make a lot of sense to restrict that to on-street parking in front of the property that's being rented, and not in front of other residents' properties. But that's just a comment on my part. The second issue then was with the point system, and I was happy to see the new way that the point system is being proposed to be used. I did have a question as far as the points themselves, the time that it takes to have someone, if they get points, to then lose those points, because it sounds like after a year the points go away. So I want some clarification on that, because if it is only a year, you could have 9 points and then they could go away in a year. So that's 9 incidents where there was some kind of nuisance that happened. So could I get some clarification on that one?
So I'll start and then Nicole can follow up. So the points do stay on for a year, but I will say that In the instance when you get to 5 points, you're required to come in and meet with township staff to discuss the issues that you're having and to start discussing a path forward to no longer have those issues. And then Nicole, if you want to talk a little bit about the points we've assessed and how that's worked, I think that would be great.
Yeah, so right away, if you're found operating a short-term rental without a permit, it socks you with an automatic 5 points. So once an individual has received my either notice of violation or verbal warning, they're very quick to comply because they realize that if they get to 10, they're done for a year. So each one of the items listed underneath the complaint process for brush, grass, weeds, noise, they're variants of points assigned. So for example, a noise violation will get you 2 points. A zoning violation will get you 1 point. There is an FAQ sheet on our website that details the point system. So I'll give you a great example. I had a complaint from over the weekend that is actually a
It's me. So I apologize.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's a pre-existing non-conforming parcel that unfortunately has 2 rental units within the single-family dwelling. So until that permit lapses, it's still allowed to have its rental permit. There was a noise complaint over the weekend, and I issued the verbal warning to the property owner saying, this is your one chance. Next time, we're going to get you with your points. She had asked how many points she would get, and I said a noise violation is 2. She happens to be renting to her own children, so she was going to tell them that she got 4 points. So the point system is effective because they realize that we are serious. And it is, we have the municipality's planning code that we have to, if we would issue a notice of violation, they have to have 30 days to comply. We have a time restraint. Whereas the Center Region Code Administration can fine them $300 a day. They can fine them immediately. So we are finding several that have been cited by the code office with very hefty fines. So.
And we're finding the fines are really helping us get some of these properties to come into compliance. We're working with Deckert, which is a software system that goes out and mines all of these sites to find these Airbnbs and these other short-term rentals. And then they're sending notifications out to folks, and we're getting people who are coming in and applying and trying to comply. And then we get some people that just, for whatever reason, don't think they need to, think they're grandfathered, forget to update permits, other things. And the code office has been our friend in all of this, and not just us, it's been across the Center Region, but because they can go out and hit them in their wallet, which really helps because people then try to bring themselves into compliance.
And a follow-up to that, so you mentioned about the permit being suspended for a year. If I'm understanding the new proposal here, if that does go into effect and a permit does get pulled, that would be permanent then, is that correct?
For the non-owner occupied, yes, if the permit would
Yes.
get pulled and lapse, then yes, they would lose the ability to continue, because they would be allowed to continue as a non-conforming use, is what they would be. So they don't want to lose that permit because that's what gives them their non-conformity.
Okay. And then my only suggestion then is instead of perhaps having points go away in a year, meaning all points go away in a year from when they were when they were charged,
Accrued.
however you want to say it, perhaps you can instead have a cooling down period or a cooling down number, so it could be up to maybe 2 points a year or 3 points a year or something like that. So if you do have someone who has 9 points, they wouldn't all be taken away in a year. I think that would help with the severity of, the ones that are repeat offenders.
That's something we can.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Matt. That's something we can look at. The point system actually started in State College Borough, and that's where this language all comes from. It's in our property maintenance code. The Center Region put that in. State College has used it to deal with some issues they were having downtown with some perhaps student-centered housing. So that's something I can look into with Walt Schneider as well and talk with him.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Yeah, good comments, good questions. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak, or anyone online? I'm not seeing anyone online now that I have.
Oh, Laura?
Laura's online now.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Okay, I just saw it. Laura Zimmerman.
Hi, yes, I'm Laura Zimmerman. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I'm also a resident of Patton Township in Park Forest. I live on the same street as Matthew. And I just really wanted to thank Amy for giving us a place to be able to discuss these issues. I started frantically messaging her a year ago, and it's been really wonderful to be heard and to know that this whole research project was going on and that the point system was in place. So kudos to all of you for that. One question that I have in regards to parking and driving, I've seen 11 cars on the street facing every which way at one point, and there was one time that the place was rented, and I don't know if they stayed overnight or not, but it was for a Sweet 16 birthday party. And then the second one was someone who lived outside of State College came in and held a trunk show for clothing that they were selling. And I just wondered, can you just come in, run an Airbnb and sell clothes out of a neighborhood like that?
So Laura, that's a good reminder that we need to add that to the regulations, that you cannot in fact use it for a commercial activity like that. So thank you for that.
Oh, of course. And then I know we probably can't do anything about this, but one nuisance is just the speeding. We've got a lot of kids in our neighborhood, and these folks roll in for football games, graduation, and whatnot, and are excited for their event, but I don't feel like they're always mindful of the speed limit on our street. But that's just a comment more than anything.
What was it that I missed?
Speeding.
May I ask what street you're on?
Speeding.
She's on Stone Ledge in Park Forest.
Amy, we may also want to put in there that short-term rentals also does not mean event space.
Yes, yep.
What was that again?
No event space.
No event space. She had referenced a 16th birthday party. That's a house, a single-family dwelling, unless you're residing there.
Right.
A different
Yeah, I commiserate with you on the speeding. We have an issue of that on our street. And I know the street I frequent to cut through Park Forest to get to North Atherton, Oakley, I believe, is also, it's kind of designed as a cut-through street. And I've seen a lot of people driving faster than me, much faster than me. So.
Okay, I don't think there's anybody else online.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Larry. Yeah,
Anybody
I
in
got
the
lost in that.
audience here?
So, anybody in the audience? Yes, please come up and state your name and what street you live on. That would.
I am actually Matthew's wife. He's at a conference right now, so he couldn't be here today.
Okay.
So yeah, he's in Chicago, so I decided to come in person. So yeah, we both, my name is Bethany Beisel, and we both live on Stone Ledge Road. And we have 3 children, and in my experience, I just want to make some comments how the short-term rentals have been concerning for me, having an 8-year-old daughter on my street with the speeding, with the out-of-state residents just in and out, not necessarily respecting that we're a neighborhood and we're not like a party, we shouldn't be a party atmosphere. The one house at the top of the road definitely has parties in that, I have counted 8 cars, like 6 on either side of the road and then several in the driveway at one time, which concerns me because I feel like an Airbnb should be used as a hotel, for a family or 2 families, who would reside in that for a few nights, as opposed to, renting it out as a party house for football games and multiple families and friends. And again, we live in Park Forest away from downtown for a reason, you know, it's a really quiet street until this all started. You know, the neighbors know each other, we just, it's become really concerning, again, with just the in and out and the party atmosphere. And when you were saying like you might regulate how many people are allowed in a house, I'm not sure, like, would it be by bedroom, or?
Nicole can explain that.
Yep. So I did a little dive into that and also contacted the code office because there's two different levels. So they have what is an OCC and an OCL. The OCL is the occupancy limit. So occupancy is determined by bedroom size. So the minimum size of a bedroom is 76 square feet. Then there's also common space that is considered. So the least number of occupants allowed to stay overnight in that home, the minimum would be 3. And then the occupancy limit can go as high as 49. And that goes by the 70 square foot bedroom size, you know, that's 10 by 7. So there's been, the complaints we've received a lot is the number of vehicles on the street. We cannot determine who is the ones actually renting the Airbnb versus who is just there visiting. Like, they could have met up with some old college roommates or, you know, former classmates and said, hey, come over, we're staying at this Airbnb. There's really nothing we can do about that, but if we find out that the occupancy of those residing within the home is exceeded, then that's where we can do something. But
There's nothing that could be like written about, you know, parties basically as a disruption.
I think that's where we put events.
Events.
If we tie it as an event.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one thing, and again, Nicole brings up a very good point. People come into town, they go downtown, they run into people they know, they all come back to the Airbnb. At some point, the people not staying there need to leave.
Right.
But if somebody, like Laura mentioned, the house that was rented for the Sweet 16 birthday, that's not people coming into town to come to an event, staying at that house. That's people using that to throw a party.
Right.
And that's what we want to try to avoid.
To avoid that.
Yep.
Okay.
And the trunk show, that same thing.
Yeah, that was something
I'd
too.
say I would just add too, if there is a residence that clearly it's a party and
Yes.
it's becoming a disturbance for the neighborhood, call us. I mean, that's,
Okay.
you know, that's a police department issue. We will send an officer out. Often how we handle disorderly parties or conduct, we'll come out and give a warning. We'll make contact with somebody who's responsible for the property so that you hopefully find the owner or you know, if not, then the person renting it. Make contact with them. They're responsible for the residents. Let them know we have a complaint, there's a lot of noise, loud party, loud music, whatever the case may be. If we get called back there, then we generally will cite them. We have a township ordinance that prohibits excessive noise, and then also we fall under the crimes code, disorderly conduct. So one of those two options would come into play if we return back.
Okay.
So if it's too loud, the non-emergency number, I'll say it, so it'll be on the recording here, it's 1-800-479-0050. You could always call that, so you're not tying up on 911 line.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're happy to come out and to deal with that. Okay. Generally, a visit from a police officer, typically, we'll get them to quiet things down and calm things down for you.
And I would add, please call even if it's an event weekend in town. We have officers at our staff, at our station, that are not dealing with football or anything else. They're here, they're serving the residents of Patton Township. Please call the non-emergency number and they will respond.
Okay.
That is not, you're not pulling them away from anything else. It's not a bother. Please, that's what they're here for.
And otherwise we can, if it's not like something that an officer has to come out for, we can submit online,
Yes.
just a complaint.
Yeah, and with the
too.
way we're gonna change things, you can either submit online or you can send an email to myself or to Nicole.
Okay.
And I'll make sure if you send it to me, it gets to Nicole and we follow up then after the weekend.
Okay.
The non-emergency one is 24/7 though?
Yes.
It rings right into the 911 center, it's just not on a recorded line, so.
Okay. And I just wanted to quickly make a comment on parking. Again, the house in question is at the very top of our hill on Stone Ledge, and there's a stop sign right there. And so people every weekend park on either side of the road. in front of the residents over here, in front of the next door residents, and it does make it a hazard because it's like one lane going up to a stop sign, and then people who are turning onto our road cannot necessarily see, people coming this way because it's like a three-way stop, not a four-way.
A T intersection,
So,
right.
and I know, you said there's no restrictions in parking in our neighborhood, but I was wondering, because downtown and in other townships, I vaguely remember reading something about so many cars are allowed on the street based on how many bedrooms are in a house. And maybe it was the borough or Ferguson, I'm not sure, I'd have to look that up. But I didn't know if that could potentially be something we could look into. Like, it was a regulation, if there's 5 bedrooms, you can have, 3 cars in the parking, in the driveway, and then 1 on the street kind of thing. Just because it is hazardous, and it's hard to see around these cars. My kids are riding up and down, on the street on bikes, and I feel like it's a safety issue, particularly for this one house right on the corner where the stop sign is. So, but that's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, come. And again, state your name and what street you're on.
Hi, I live on Hospitality Road, including the almost boutique hotel that Bethany referred to.
Okay.
I mean, that baby, that occupancy is strong. That's a good investment.
Yeah.
And as you know, what's happening, some of these LLCs are targeting Patton Township, and they're buying more than one property.
Yeah. But seriously,
And,
can you tell
on
us
my street, there are-
can you tell us your name before you go?
Pardon?
Give us your name before you go any further.
Albert Lennon,
Thank you.
Glennon,
Okay,
630 Stoneland Road.
Okay.
And I am really glad you're establishing some regulations because it's a quality of life issue. People move to Patton Township because of what it has to offer. And it really is a nice place to live, you'll agree. And it's great for couples and especially families. You have your recreational areas, you have your schools. And thinking of the present as well as the future, put some controls on this quality of life issue. It'll affect the growth of the township and of course reputation. And right now the feeling is that if you're an investor, target Patton Township. So on behalf of the residents who enjoy living here and want to stay here, let's try to prevent the situation that I'm in. There are 3 on the street, plus 1 that borders my yard behind me. And I'd much rather have the residents move into these homes and enjoy the township rather than absentee landlords that really don't care about the quality of life. And looking forward, could create a blight. So let's be vigilant, and thank you for listening to us. And we do appreciate your efforts in terms of the regulations. And I think you can agree what I said. I'm not here to go over the details. I'm just here to reinforce your beliefs. And thank you for taking action.
Yeah, thank you for speaking up.
Sutan has his hand up online.
Oh, Sutan, how you doing? You got something to say?
Oh, you got something to say.
Yeah, well, okay.
I got a lot of thoughts. I'll only speak to 2 of them. This is my clarification, but first I think we need to, it'll probably be helpful to make sure we are clear to people who are coming to speak, not to give their exact address out.
That's true, but I think we do often ask people to give their
street is fine.
Their street. Is,
Just for protection of them.
and perhaps, okay. But perhaps also, perhaps in this issue that it might be important to break this. So, good point, well taken, and apologies for how we proceeded this.
You know, it wasn't a judgment, just saying moving forward, might be helpful for people who aren't aware that they don't have to get advantage of this. Just for clarification, Pennsylvania treats short-term rentals as the same as hotels, correct? Which is why that's a big factor.
Pennsylvania actually is silent on short-term rental regulations. It is up to the local municipality, so it varies across the state of Pennsylvania. The city of Philadelphia regulates them as hotels, and other places have other varying regulations. The state has never done anything beyond a study to see their economic impact in the state.
So they don't actually pay an occupancy tax?
They're supposed to pay the hotel tax.
Mm-hmm. Where does that money go to?
That money goes to Center County, and it's funneled into affordable housing and tourism-related activities.
Any more questions, Sutan, or?
I had one more thing, but I can't read my handwriting, so. But I like the recommendations. I think they're fair. I appreciate the assessment. Earlier, there was a concern that residents had, and it seemed like based on the study, some of those things were founded. We're hopeful that more people are responsive to our request that they get permitted, stuff like that. But yeah, just appreciate all the work that's going into this.
Okay, great. Is that it? Yep. Okay, any, yeah, okay.
This goes Chief. I know you guys shared that our officers have discretion, and you said this over the years, they have discretion on a lot of matters. And when it comes to responding to a noise complaint, I hear you in that, the typical protocol would be to go out, give a warning, and then obviously go cite after that, if there's no infraction. I'm wondering, is there something egregious enough that we would want our officers to cite the first time?
So it's an interesting question. There are places, for instance, along Byron Boulevard at our student housing. We typically, that warning phase is usually about a 24-hour time period. However, if there is a residence, for instance, again on Byron Boulevard, that we continue to go back to over and over again for excessive occupancy, for loud noise, for loud parties, we might get to the point where we consider citing right away. For those, we're typically dealing with the same residents though. With these short-term rentals, it's different people that are coming into town. So they probably don't know the regulations in Patton Township. They don't know how our noise ordinance work. They should be aware of the state statute if they're from Pennsylvania that disorderly conduct would apply possibly. So if it's something where we're dealing with the owner of that property over and over again, that might trigger us citing on a first visit. But generally, we do give a warning that first visit. And a large majority of the time, we're getting compliance from those folks when we go out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I guess I'm trying to be responsive to the residents' concerns because I've been around spaces that have people have been partying and stuff like that, and it has been pretty egregious. People just towards them very drunk, beer long, throwing anything and everything sort of like on front lawns. And so, yeah, sometimes it does feel like something will be egregious enough to cite, even if the individual isn't aware of all of the ordinance. But yeah, I feel like I would just encourage, if I can, our officers to be mindful, and I'm just going to follow if you want to out where it belongs, because I do think that there is a line for it, so it may be helpful to actually cite that first time. So, nothing else.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Sudan. So anyone else online, help me out here if you see anyone. I'm not seeing a hand up.
I don't see anyone else.
Okay, so members of the board here.
Heidi first and then.
Well,
Okay,
you go first. I talk.
Okay.
First. I have a lot of questions, so.
okay.
I
Good.
just have a question for Nicole and Amy. The wordage of events, is there any way that we can make in bold letters, people look for events. If we in bold parties, it registers that if you have these parties, we're not playing for our residents. We are not playing games. As an owner who's coming in, please, bold letters. If you have parties at your
Rental.
rental units, you don't get a grace period because you're affecting the safety of our residents.
Yeah, we can certainly make that known as well. Yep.
You know, because of the wordage, if I'm looking at events, it's like, yeah, okay, well, you say parties, they get the message that whether it's a 16-year-old party, 17-year-old, whatever, a beer party or whatever you want to call it, you put party on it and you bold it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Family reunion comes to mind, but
And
but that's a party if
yeah.
if everybody gathers at the same
Yep.
time.
Yeah, we can do that.
That's a really good point. Really.
Thank you on that. Heidi?
Okay, Heidi.
Okay. One thing, just follow up a little bit on what Sutan and then the chief was saying on the, you have different people each time, but the fact of the matter is you have one owner and whoever's renting it should have the responsibility to provide those renter full knowledge of the ordinances. So it seems to me that you don't really need to have a grace period for each new group of people that rent a particular place. It really should be on the onus of the owner whether they live there or not. So that's just, it's kind of a comment on me, but it seems to me that you could be tougher, because I sort of feel the frustration over here and living with this, and it seems like it's really affected them. And part of it is, it seems like there's so many ways that the absentee owner can kind of keep going, you know, and yeah, they get little nicks and knacks, and, you know, but they never really get stopped sometimes, and it just seems like I think we have to be a little bit less kind, and I mean, I don't know if that's, I hate to say that, I don't mean to be mean exactly, but stricter with some of this stuff, because it's really, really affecting people. And then a question I had, well, one simple question, I think, I don't exactly know, I absolutely support increasing the fees. You went to 150, but I was just wondering, can we use the same logic as I think code uses? They provide services that are basically paid for, so they figure out the cost for them. Is $150, will that cover the cost for a particular unit, on average, obviously, because some things take more than others? Is that for your time dealing with these situations?
Yeah.
It would?
It would.
You feel that that's okay?
The $30 doesn't even cover
Yeah, but 150
nothing.
you're comfortable with. Okay, that was a question, simple question. And then I was going to ask a question about grandfathering the people or the properties. This is what you're proposing. For the people that don't live there, because those are the ones that are really the problem.
Right.
And is that a legal thing? Is that we can't? Could we not have them at all?
I did talk with the solicitor about it, and she's traveling today, which is why she's not here. But I can talk to her again about it and have her discuss that with the board at an upcoming meeting. I know our neighbors in Harris Township tried to, I think, just outlaw them from their residential zoning districts altogether, and they were challenged legally, and so they came down on sort of this grandfathering. So I think the grandfathering is probably the better way for us to go in terms of legal challenges from folks. But also it gives us a way, and in looking at, I looked at Gettysburg too and what they have done, and they did the same thing down there. And Bellefonte did it. I think it gives us a way to start kind of ushering out, because what happened in our neighbors in Harris Township, their manager told me that when they enacted their regulations and did what they did, they have seen a lot of their short-term rentals are now changing hands into either long-term rentals or they're being sold to people who are living in them.
Oh.
So they're becoming owner-occupied properties, which is ultimately what we want to see, right? We have a housing issue, a housing stock issue in the center region for, attainable housing and any other kind of housing. So this, I think anecdotally, and they've seen in Harris that this has helped change some of those into residents, long-term residents.
How long have these communities or these localities had these invoked,
So Bellefonte's been a couple of years now, Gettysburg has been a couple of years, and Harris just did their regulations, I think, last year.
So even in 2 years, they've seen a downturn of the ones for the absentee.
And I think having in there that, when it changes hands, it loses its non-conforming use, helps, because a lot of these people are buying up these properties because they have students that go to Penn State, they have some connection to Penn State, and then their life situation changes and they want to sell the property. That keeps these LLCs from coming in and just snapping this up again and continuing it on.
Okay. And then I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's with the point system. Have you, just from what, this has been done now, I wasn't on the board when you did it, but I listened to it when you were doing it, but of course then I really couldn't ask questions. Have you revoked anybody's permit?
No.
Based on this?
The most I've given out so far is about a handful of 5 points.
Okay, but you still feel that this has been quite effective? Because I was wondering if we wanted to, require less points or have the points worth more to get up to 10 or whatever. You don't want it, I'm just wondering if you had the opportunity, because this has been quite a nuisance, to make it easier to make it to 5 where you come in and then make it to 10, those two thresholds for people, because we haven't had any yet.
Right, so under the current point system, those points are established by the property maintenance code. We didn't establish them.
This is center region.
They're the center region property.
So you're sort of bound by them. Well, that's good to know.
Right. But with the way we're proposing to change it now, by individuals being able to submit their complaints, we then can automatically assign points.
And then the other possibility, could you also keep them for longer than a year?
No, that's also in the property maintenance
that's what I
code.
asked. So we know what the bounds are, so you guys can understand that too.
But adding in, because right now we need a police citation to issue points, adding in the ability to submit them directly to Nicole or
That will
myself,
help.
that will help us.
Okay, great. Okay, and then one more, and then I'm done.
You're good.
Parking.
Yeah, you're all good.
What?
You're always good. Go.
I don't know, I think I'm annoying to some people. But anyway, but parking, I think you mentioned, Chief, the possibility that you could have so that you would not allow a car to be overnight, and that is one possibility.
That's up to the board. I say that have to be.
But you could do that, right? So
We
if
do that for the
residents
streets,
in
so
a
that
community wanted that, then that could be done, because that would help.
The problem is, though, it affects the residents that live there as well.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying, if the residents wanted it. Right? Because they might have overnight guests themselves, right? But I'm just saying that would be a possibility you could do, or you could implement a parking where you can only park on one side of the street if you have the problem with a tunnel. I'm just saying there's ways that, because you were concerned about safety, and those are ways that you could possibly do it. And it would probably be, community by community or street by street. But those are legal options
Yeah,
that the township has.
Yeah, and typically, we had this issue out in Suton's neighborhood, actually, in Grays Point, where we were having an issue with some parking. And we don't like to be punitive toward the long-term residents of the community, right? The residents that live there every day to address one problem. So if we wanted to look at, on Stone Ledge in Park Forest, doing no parking 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., we'd want to talk with the residents first, because in the issue of Suton's neighborhood, we had someone who has a second car and needs the on-street parking for his second car, right? So we don't want to take something away from a resident that, you know, you need or you have guests coming in, because if we see you parking there between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., we don't know if you live on the street or if you don't live on the street, we're going to give you a ticket.
Okay.
And we don't want to be punitive towards people.
Okay, but that would be one way. I guess I'm just looking at the people, because you're all from the same street, that maybe that would be something that you'd want to push for more.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm done, thank you.
Yep, Pam.
Amy, you might want to ask the solicitor. I know we've been going to a lot of the workshops and conferences for just this. One of the suggestions at one of the workshops is to, for violators to put their names out, like on the media, put them on our Facebook. I don't know whether we can do it, but that was one of the suggestions that came up at one of the workshops, to more or less put that owner who has all these violations on their newsletters, put them on Facebook, put them on CNET.
Yeah, I'll
Is that, I mean, ask, if you can ask our solicitor.
I will talk with Betsy about
Yeah.
that. I'm not sure that's what we want to do,
That
but
might
I will talk.
escalate in a way we don't want.
Yes.
Yeah, and also considering that many of the owners live out of state, it may not affect them as much.
But they, I mean, apparently if they knew that at the workshops, that
Could be.
they had
Okay.
these owners from
That's
different
great.
areas. You know, Facebook, it was one major, you know.
Yeah, we'll talk to Betsy about
Okay.
that. I don't want to do anything that.
No, I
Yeah.
just want to ask her, you know, is it possible?
So,
I do have one more question,
Oh,
sorry, I forgot it.
sure, go ahead.
Nicole, you mentioned that COG could right away do, like, issue a citation or start fining, and we can't?
No.
I missed, why is it that we can't and they can?
So per the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code, we have to give an individual 30 days to comply.
Okay, thank you.
Great questions. So I want to give a big picture, as I'm seeing. This is really a culture. And it's a culture that's not unique to State College. It sounds like it's happening all over. And of course, we are strapped for affordable housing. That's a whole nother issue, right, with the accessory dwelling units. But the process of changing culture, it's really hard. You're changing behavior. I think we've made great progress, not only tonight, but with what Nicole and Amy have set up, and not just the rules, right, but this is going to be an ongoing process. I would like to see us perhaps have a special section on the website that, so that people don't have to go to the E-code and figure out what it is, that addresses short-term rental challenges, or whatever we want to call it. And, you know, I think it's also going to be part of the education is going to be educating the owners to provide a set of rules, very visible, and have it designated where it is. The same way that when you go into a hotel, the minute you close that outside door, what do you see? You see the fire escape routes, and it's visual, and then there's a written part. People learn differently. The other thing, or another way to change, is simply by doing what the four of you have done, and was it Matthew who joined us from wherever he was? Chicago. Across the state, across the nation. It puts a little bit more work on you, and I'm not suggesting that you would go personally, and obviously if the owner is not local, it's hard to talk to that owner. But talking among yourselves, talking among your neighbors, which it sounds like you've already done, there's the most powerful way to make a change is this one-to-one conversation. And so, you can make it formal. You can say, let's divide and conquer. Let's make sure we talk to everybody on the street, or it can just be informal. You're out walking and you talk to somebody about this. In fact, with the issue that we had on our agenda earlier, the Patton Crossing, the people who lived in Park Forest with the closest proximity to Patton Crossing did actually just that. They went door to door and essentially educated people, got people involved, and it actually became very productive. And from that, we had a citizens advisory committee and yada, 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 yada. So I think certainly that it can be done, and certainly working with the chief, with Nicole and Amy, it's having the information available and having it available very easily. So having something on the website, and then if we could direct maybe staff to come up with a set of rules, KISS, right? And this would be posted on the inside of the residence, and certainly sent to each owner of this offsite property. Kudos on how well the point system has worked. If we add what Pam Robb suggested and all the questions that Heidi's asked, we will come to a really good point. And it does sound like it is working in other cities. That culture is changing. We are going to make it unpleasant for the owners. I mean, they're doing this for money. It's their quality of life. They certainly have a right to make money and, earn a living. But when it comes in conflict with other qualities of life, then we need to, look at the statute of justice, and we need to find some balance there. So I think that's what we're doing. And so getting the word out, being very transparent, and being very available. So I really commend everybody here tonight for doing that and all the questions. So great.
We will start working on regulations for you guys to look at, an ordinance.
Wow. Great. Okay. Man, I got caught up in that. I forgot. I think I have to. We didn't have okay. Okay, so that's it. So we're going to come up with the ordinance for October.
Yep.
And so you all are already tuned in to our meetings here. You'll keep tuning in, and I hope come to that next public hearing, and then, or when the ordinance is presented, and then, of course, at our public hearing later then. Okay. Thank you so much. And also, while you're at it, just give a heads up to local government. I mean, this is local government, and I think people need to know it's a pretty great organization. Anyway, we're on to item something E, which I can't remember which number we're on. Proposed ordinance 2026-656, adding data centers as conditional use in the industrial zoning district. And I guess that's you, Amy. Okay.
So you recently discussed the need for data center regulations for our township. We discussed how this use could be shared with College Township. We have an intermunicipal zoning implementation agreement with College Township that dates to 2005, which provides for the township to share our industrial and multifamily zoning districts in College Township. So they allow data centers as a conditional use in their industrial zoning district. Our solicitor recommended that we enact an ordinance that allows data centers as a conditional use in our industrial zoning district, and that we should mirror the regulations in College Township. So this then allows for that use to be shared. We then put together an ordinance which was reviewed by the Center Region Planning Commission at their August 6th meeting, and also by our Planning Commission at their August 3rd meeting, and both of them recommend approval of the ordinance. So you want to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Okay. I think, do I need a motion to open it? I can just open it. Thank you. Okay, we're opening the public hearing on the ordinance concerning data centers. And so is there anybody in the audience? Anybody online who has a question about the ordinance that we've come up with for data centers? Okay, no, seeing none. Any questions from board members?
I don't have a question this time, but just a comment, because I meant to send something out for the committee report, I'm sorry, but I subbed for Betsy on the, what's the committee called?
Lucy.
Lucy, yeah. And in that Jenna did a presentation on the data centers, and it was really good because it's very pertinent to our area. I don't know if you've seen that or not. But also just made that comment, because when I talked, she said, oh, you're okay because you have that college Patton Township relationship. So, but I also made the comment, I care about the whole area. But anyway, I just want to say I support it, and I got a little more insight into all of this from that presentation, and a better understanding of the swapping, or sharing of the use. I guess that's what you call it, not swapping. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Yeah. Any comments? No? Okay. Nor me.
You want to make a motion to close the public hearing?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion. Would somebody make a motion to close the public hearing? Anybody online?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
And second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. The hearing is now closed. I think I do that. And now
We can make a motion to,
we can, sorry, thank you.
is that right?
Yes.
So I'll move for that motion to approve this proposed ordinance
Thank you.
2026-656.
Okay. Do we have a second out there?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, so we have our ordinance. Okay, great. Super, okay, and that brings us, that was a lot of work tonight. I'm going to commend everybody for the thought and judgment that was put into that. On to public safety, and this is a information only, but it's very important information. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much. Larry just pulled up our July report. You'll see our officers stopped 185 vehicles. We wrote 42 citations, wrote 15 parking tickets, handled 14 criminal arrests. And our bike patrol rode 111 miles, did 94 business checks, handled 6 incidents, 8 vacation home checks, wrote a parking ticket, and then served a warrant as well. So the bike patrol is pretty busy. Under department notes, a 23-year-old male was arrested for misuse of 911 and false reports to law enforcement. He called 911 and reported that he needed police assistance because he had just assaulted his girlfriend at his apartment. Officers rushed to the scene and were met with by the girlfriend, who was just fined. The male later admitted to the officers that he called 911 as a prank and was just trying to get some attention from his girlfriend. So unfortunately, that did not work out well for him. 39-year-old male was arrested for a wiretap violation. The male was live streaming on a social media platform, and he made several phone calls during that and recorded the conversations without the other party's knowledge. Pennsylvania, the wiretap law, where 2 parties consent state, so both people need to know they're being recorded if you're going to record somebody's audio content. A 23-year-old female was arrested for harassment. The female and her coworker were engaged in an ongoing dispute. The coworker was leaving their place of employment when the female grabbed the coworker and slapped her phone out of her hand. We made 3 arrests for retail theft, 2 for driving under the influence. We served 16 of the 24 warrants that we attempted, and we conducted 16 vacation home checks. Our officers did use force during one incident in the month of July. We received a call for assistance from the State College Borough Police Department, along with Ferguson Township, to help with an individual who had fled from them on a traffic stop. So Ferguson's officers and State College officers located the male at his residence in Ferguson Township. The male resisted arrest and a taser was deployed. Our officers were summoned to help with this individual, and one of our officers assisted with handcuffing the male. After he was secured, he continued to grow increasingly aggressive. He stood up from a chair that he was seated in, and he charged at the Patton Township officer that was there and headbutted him in the chest. Our officer shoved the male back into the chair. He was eventually evaluated by EMS, but due to his level of combativeness, they couldn't transport him safely, so the State College Police Department transported him. Our officer was not injured, the individual was not injured, and then he ended up facing some charges from State College in Ferguson. Under community relations, he participated in the 4th of July parade. And then Officer Snyder and Graff did a K-9 demo at the Center Region Active Adult Center at the Nittany Mall. Our officers participated in tactical response team training. Sergeant Schaefer attended defensive tactics instructor training. Officer Adelini attended an advanced roadside impairment driving enforcement, or ARIDE training. We had a handful of officers attend emergency vehicle operator training. Graf did his 2 days of training. He also was deployed on 2 vehicle sniffs. He did alert on one of those vehicles, and a small amount of controlled substance was recovered as a result of a search of that vehicle. Like I mentioned, he did a canine demo at the Nittany Mall. I attended the emergency services meeting, the radio advisory council meeting, children's advisory council, or children's advisory center advisory meeting, and then also the Center County Chiefs meeting. We have one performance report. Officer Sunderland, Sergeant Shapanko is kind of the hero behind the scenes. He's always the one writing these. He does a fantastic job. He wouldn't want any of the attention, but he was also involved in this incident, so I'm going to give it to him. So he and Officer Sunderland responded to a report of a male possibly was in cardiac arrest. Turned out that he was in the advanced stages of an opioid overdose. So those officers did a fantastic job deploying and administering oxygen and also naloxone, 2 doses of naloxone to that individual. After a short time, he did regain his consciousness and was transported to the hospital for further care. So they did a fantastic job saving that individual's life. Lastly, the calls for service for the month of July. We handled 403 calls. That's up just slightly from the 396 we handled in June. 45 of those were health and safety, EMS assists, and 44 were traffic related. And then lastly, I just want to remind everybody, school starts back on Tuesday, the 25th, for State College Area School District. So just to remind everyone, please be mindful of children boarding buses, of buses stopped with their lights on, with the stop arms out. Please respect that. Obviously, for the safety of the children, we have a lot of walkers in the Park Forest out in the area. So also acknowledging and listening to what the crossing guards are telling you. If they're standing in the middle of the road with their stop sign up, that means everybody must stop. It doesn't mean just because you're coming to a T intersection and you're on the far end that you can make your right turn. If they are standing there, everybody must come to a complete stop until the crossing guard exits the roadway and allows traffic to continue. Also, just watching speed. We've talked a lot about speeding tonight. During the school drop-off and pick-up hours, the speed limit in the school zones does drop down to 15 miles per hour, so please be very mindful of that. We just, obviously for the safety of the children and motorists and everybody in and around, we just want to make sure everybody's vigilant and mindful that we're back at it. So that's it for my report. Appreciate it.
Thank you as always. I really admire that. We're on, now Public Works. And this is an action item. In fact, we've got several action items under Public Works, if I'm not mistaken. The first one is the draft park operations and maintenance agreement.
I'm going to take that one.
Okay.
So the COG forwarded the draft park operations and maintenance agreement to the municipalities for review and comment. So this came out of something the Parks Governance Committee has been working on. Right now, the COG operates under a 1988 policy, which says they will maintain any park that's over 4 acres in size. And that's all it says. And it doesn't say how they'll maintain it. It doesn't say what level of service you choose. And we don't pay based on the number of parks that we have. We pay right now based on our COG formula. So they do give us some reporting on the maintenance work that they do, but we're not selecting different tiers of service or anything. So one of the things the Parks Governance Committee, which you remember they were charged back in 21 with kind of modernizing a lot of these documents that we have, they were looking at how we can kind of move forward with a new parks maintenance agreement. We had talked at one point, Susan Wheeler and I, with Jim Carpenter and Christy Owens about an MOU that would say this is what you're going to do in Patton Township, and then it helps each municipality to kind of make a decision about what we want to do with our parks maintenance. So the draft that they forwarded on to us, and it was actually a meeting with the managers and our Parks and Rec folks, Susan and I went to the meeting at the COG when they forwarded this back to us. This is like the second or third draft they've sent to us. This draft is, as it's in your packet, it's very vanilla compared to the other drafts, which our RAC reviewed the other drafts and they really prefer the other drafts. I did give you their recommendation in there and they have their comments listed in the agenda. We have to get comments back to the COG. I would prefer, and this came up in the meeting that we were in, we talked about this, to have something where you have levels of service tiers, right? We have 2 destination parks, in my opinion, the best parks in the center region, Burnell Road and Circleville. So for those parks, we would probably choose the highest tier of service if they offered that. And then for some of the other parks, we might make a different decision. We have 274, I believe, acres of parkland. I'm looking at Ryan, and I think 206 acres of that parkland is maintained by the COG. So one of the points that we brought up to COG staff was, in looking at this, if we had tiers, then as we're doing our budget, we're looking at what do we need to do to make sure our other parks are maintained? Do we need to look at our staffing levels or other ways of doing things? So I think there's a better, and Susan would agree, and the RAC agrees, there's a better conversation that should be had versus taking literally a 1-sentence policy from 1988 and expanding it into a document that doesn't really give a lot of specificity and doesn't give options. So I won't read their comments, they're in your agenda item. We have to send comments back. I would recommend, just because Susan and the RAC are the experts on this, that if you're comfortable, we send their comments back to the COG. Again, we've traded this, I believe Susan has it at the 3rd version. I thought it was only the 2nd, but I think this is I go with Susan, the 3rd version of this agreement that's gone around. When we originally, Susan and I talked with Jim and Christy, we were very excited about an MOU because that spells out what you have to do, but that seems to have gone a little bit by the wayside, so.
Yeah. Comments, board members?
I agree with you.
Board member online? About Amy's suggestion that we take the comments from the RAC? Yeah, okay. Heidi, yes,
I mean,
please.
I would agree with that, but I just wanted to say, I actually attended that meeting because I'm trying to learn more about that. I'm impressed with that board, by the way, and Susan. I just wanted to ask a follow-up question for Amy on, you prefer the tiered. If you did that, would we pay a different amount of money? Is that where you're trying to go with this?
So it depends, because right now, and I've had this issue for years with this system, because right now you pay based on the COG formula. So I can't tell you how much service we're getting at Burnell Road versus how much service we're getting at another park, right? And so I'm just paying a lump sum. So in the tiered system, I would be able to sit down with Ryan and Larry during the budget and Susan and go, this is what we can afford, this is what we need to look at, and then I can make long-term decisions. Now, I understand we're not all the same in the center region. We have the premier parks program in the center region, in my humble opinion, and we have Susan Wheeler, and nobody else has a Susan Wheeler. So it's a different model and a different discussion in some of these other municipalities, but honestly, I think the tiers are the more fair way to go, because then College Township can't say, oh, State College is getting all the attention downtown, or State College can't say, oh, Patton's getting all the attention at Burnell Road. Like, then everybody knows what everybody's doing, and it's a fairer system. Also, I was talking to Jim Steff earlier today, the former COG executive director, about something else, and I mentioned this, and Jim said, yeah, years ago, we never envisioned all these parks. Like, the COG in 1940 started with the parks in State College borough, right? None of us were doing much of anything outside of the borough. So the COG has grown, and that's why it's important for this to grow and change as well.
Yeah. Sounds good. When was Circleville Park developed?
So I think we got the land for Circleville Park in the 80s or 90s.
Okay.
Looking at Ryan, and Ryan's like, I don't know. And it's
I
been,
don't think anybody here has that knowledge of when it.
it's been developed over some sections. I know that much.
Do I get a free call to Elliot? Whatever, okay.
Elliot would know.
Phone a friend.
Phil would have known.
Phil would have known if he were still here.
Okay. So I think,
We need a motion then for that?
yeah, no, the board should review and provide their comments. I don't know that we need a motion necessarily, but we could all say that we agree with what she
Yeah, we
said.
Yeah,
support what
I'll
they're
forward the
Okay.
RAC comments on.
Yeah,
And thank
okay.
them for their service, and Susan.
Yeah, no, they're amazing.
Yeah, they really are.
Yes.
Yeah, there's good rapport in that committee too. They all are very, very active. item B, it is the amendment to the hunting regulation in Grays Woods Preserve, and for this item, we will need a motion. So who's taking that?
I'm taking that one as well.
Amy again, okay.
So as you know, we recently completed the boundary realignment between the Grays Woods Preserve and the Grays Woods Park. And after that boundary work was done, it was recommended that we look at the hunting regulations and that we amend them to give additional clarification of what can and cannot be done near the Grays Woods Park. So because the preserve property is bisected by Heritage Trail Run Road, we're recommending that the road be used as the boundary for the hunting restrictions, and that the hunting restrictions be as follow. Archery hunting would only be permitted north of Heritage Trail Road. No archery hunting is permitted within 50 yards of Grays Woods Park and any of the residential properties that are out there. And then full access hunting and fur taking is permitted south of Heritage Trail Road. And the Open Space Committee did review this when they were actually out on their open space tour, and they supported the change. So if you're comfortable, we'll get an ordinance ready for public hearing and adoption at your September 9th meeting.
A question regarding that. How do people know the 50 yards or whatever boundary you do?
We actually blaze the trees.
You do? Okay. Okay. All right.
And their hunting signs interspersed, I guess, or,
Sutan has a question.
Oh, thank you, Larry. Yeah, Sutan, okay.
Hello. So the map that we have in our packet, the buffer zone, is this not an updated map?
No, that,
So the buffer zone is added?
wait a minute, hold on. Let me pull the right map.
I should be able to call that up.
Yeah, because the map has the buffer zone, but it's only for like the elementary school, I believe, it's not actually the park.
Yeah, so the map does have, this is the correct map. This is the one that we sent to the Game Commission, so this is the correct one. In terms of, no, actually, yeah, no, it is right.
Am I looking at something wrong?
So the parkland, which is the light orange color, Grays Woods Park, there's no hunting allowed anywhere on that park. And then the red dashed lines around it, that's where you can do archery hunting, but not within 50 yards of the park or the houses over on the other side. And then the green is the full hunting.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So yes, I get that. Hey, I get that. I'm seeing the gray out in the top right. And that's the 50-yard safety zone, correct?
Yeah, that's around the houses up there, and there's a business up there as well.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't see that 50-yard gray buffer zone actually around the park.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. We can make sure that's reflected.
Additionally, I think the language said, sorry, I'm on the screen here. Around residential. Which we added, sorry, just a second. Yeah, no hunting is permitted within 50 yards of Grays Woods Park and residential properties. So in that map, I know that there's private property there that's commercial.
Yes, yep, that's included.
That's included. Do you need different language though? It's on residential.
Yes.
We need that commercial to that. I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, let me look at that with Betsy. That's a good comment, and ask her about that.
Yes, since that's a daycare, and, yeah, commercial, so we say, it's probably just do that there.
Okay.
And then last thing, I've been trying to find it, and I can't actually find a reputable citation for this, but I was researching this, and it seemed like some people were saying, or some sources were saying that regardless of whether it's archery or muzzle loaders or anything like that, there needs to be a 150 yards from school.
I think that's, Sutan, I think that's actually the daycare. The daycare, I think, qualifies as a school. I think we had that, I think Nicole left, I'm looking like she's still here. I think we had that discussion, but I will follow up on that as well.
Chief, you want to take that?
Yeah, so even though it's archery, I saw somewhere that it's still 150 yards. If it's around people and stuff like that.
And I think the chief knows something.
Well, yeah, see, Ms. Robb actually brought it to our attention earlier. Our current ordinance does say bow and arrow, and it's 150 yards, which is what I was thinking. Nicole did explain to us that this is off of the game law.
It's a game law.
Which had a different standard, so we might need to include the language in that ordinance as well.
Yep. Okay.
Good catch.
This is all good. This is why we put it on the agenda.
That it?
Okay. So where is...
Is Sutan finished?
Yes.
Oh, Sutan, did you finish? Okay, anybody here? Got a comment? Yes, Ms. Robb.
Okay, Amy, what brought it to my attention, and I spoke to Chief on that, is in the agenda, it says no hunting. If we put archery hunting is permitted within the 50 yards, maybe that, that's what confused me.
Yeah, and I made your note on my agenda.
Thank
so,
you.
Yeah, I will check, I will clean up that language. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And please thank Nicole for bringing Chief and us on about the games law. That's where this fell into place. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay, so any more comments? Because I think at this point then, make a motion, but there's a motion stated there. Does somebody want to actually read that motion? Make it and read it and make it?
Okay.
Yeah. Unless there's any more discussion, I don't think there is.
All right, I make a motion, be made to direct staff to prepare the necessary ordinance and advertise a public hearings for September the 9th, 2006 meeting.
Okay, can I have a second?
I'll second.
All righty. Moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Moving right on. Thank you. Good. And planning and zoning. And we've got the planning commission report, and I'm guessing is it Sharon Collins?
Sharon actually had to leave. She had an event she had to get to at 7:30. So actually, the planning commission took care of the next two items. So when you take care of them, that is what they did.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, so we just, they were going to report on it, now we're just going to present it?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Take it away.
Okay.
Temporary use permit, sorry.
The first item is a temporary use permit request for the Painted Owl. The Painted Owl is a mobile food trailer. It's a coffee predominant mobile food trailer. And they would like to operate on the property of the Grays United Methodist Church, which is on West Buffalo Run Road in the A1 zoning district. The trailer is proposed to be operated Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. through the end of the year. It's actually been out. We let them go out ahead of time because they have their permitting through the state. But the trailer is positioned in the rear paved parking area with a designated seating area and a trash receptacle. I cannot talk. Trash will be removed from the site at the end of each operating period. Furnishings will only be placed during operating hours and will not obstruct parking. There's a designated pedestrian route for customers to get from the existing parking area back to the service window without any conflict with vehicles. The Planning Commission did review this at their August 3rd meeting. They recommended approval of the temporary use permit with the following condition. Signage for the use shall be limited to a yard sign or A-frame sign with one directional sign on site and shall be installed only on the permitted days and removed at the completion of those days.
Great. Any questions, discussion from board members? Do you know by any chance if this is the same truck that is at the farmer's market?
I don't.
Saturday? I'm just
I don't
curious.
know.
I'd love to stop there. A Half Moon really could, oh no, it's in Patton. I keep thinking, but it's out in the Half Moon area.
Yeah, it's in Patton.
Yeah. But I always think of going on 550, I always think I'm in Patton, I mean, Half Moon at that point. Never mind, never mind. Okay, so we've got a proposed motion. I guess that's
I'll
what.
make the motion.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
read it all.
And can we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so it is essentially summarize everything that Amy Farkas was describing. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Take it away, then. We've got it.
Okay. Next one is a temporary use permit request for Mattress Warehouse. This is a request that they've been doing since 2017. Mattress Warehouse, which is located at 1803 North Atherton Street, has applied for a temporary use permit for their back-to-school tent sale in the parking lot adjacent to their building. Tent will be 40 by 70, will be placed along the front of the parking lot from August 16th through August 23rd. Planning Commission reviewed this at their August 3rd meeting and recommended approval of the temporary use permit.
Seems pretty straightforward. Can I have is there any discussion by board members, any questions? If not, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the temporary use permit.
Great.
Second.
I'll second. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you very much. We're on to item D, request to regulate storage containers in front yards. I've seen a lot of those lately, just
Yeah.
a little editorial there.
Yeah, so that's why. We received a request from a resident asking that we add regulations for storage containers. The resident is concerned that storage containers are being placed in front yards of properties and being used as permanent containers rather than as short-term storage. Nicole and I discussed this. Nicole reviewed the letter and agrees that we do need to develop regulations for storage containers, again, as Betsy said, particularly as they're becoming more popular. And so Nicole is recommending that we refer this item to the Planning Commission for further discussion.
So they would look at the details, because I had questions on the
Yes.
details, but they'll work through that.
Yeah,
right?
they'll work through
Yeah,
that.
so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so any questions? You don't want to go through the details, you're saying? Just
Yeah,
let that
no,
work out?
I'm
Okay.
good with just making the motion at this point,
Yep,
and letting them
okay.
deal with the details.
Yep, so that sounds good.
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye? Okay, we're getting a lot done here. We're now on to authorizing the execution of a DSAME, I don't know. DSAME, okay, of a DSAME agreement with State College Area School District.
So one of the conditions of approval for the Park Forest Middle School project was the execution of a declaration of stormwater access and maintenance easement and operation and maintenance agreement. That's a mouthful, DSAME, between the township and the school district. This agreement outlines the stormwater maintenance responsibilities for the site. The agreement must be in place before the district can start hauling fill from the site under their NPDES or NIPDES permit. The document is actually nearing completion. We are finishing up reviews on the last draft. So to keep the project moving forward, we're recommending that you authorize myself to sign the DSAME after the solicitor completes her review and approves the document.
And I'm just going to editorialize here and say that the NPDES stands for the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. I had to look that up, but just so everybody knows. So this has been opened. Anybody have any questions, comments? And if not, I'll accept a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, we can check that one off. And now, I think this,
The anticipation.
if it's
Everybody was
financial trends monitoring, it must be Tuesday, Wednesday, must be Larry Pager. Okay, take it away.
Okay, the Financial Trends Monitoring Report. This is a report that we have done now for the last 17 years. It's a report that looks at the indicators of financial stability and sustainability for the delivery of township services to our residents and businesses. So, without further ado, we'll move in on the highlights. So the population growth. according to the Census Bureau, the estimate for our residents is 15,623 residents. That's down from the 2020 census of 15,650. It's also down from 2024 estimate, so you could see that in the graph. But it's not significantly down, so I consider that as stable. Our population growth is remaining stable. Our demographics show that our population by age is relatively stable. It's our population younger than 25 years old is approximately 37%. From 25 to 54 is approximately 38%. And approximately 25% of our residents are 55 years and older. The consistency shows a stable age of our population. Sources of revenue. This shows where we're getting our money from. As you can see, from 2015 to 2025, our amount that we're getting from real estate taxes has gone up a little bit. We would expect that as the taxes have increased in those 10 years. So it's gone from 44% to 48%. The earned income tax is also going up a little bit, from 21% to 23%. Other taxes remain about the same, as do intergovernmental. It's down a little. Those are, as you know, grants from other government agencies, mainly the state of Pennsylvania. And our non-tax sources, which are, sales of police records and stuff like that, is down a little bit. But we remain stable with our sources of our revenue, which we know to be real estate taxes are about 50%. This is just another way of looking at the taxes or the revenue, where you can see the way our revenue has been trending over the years. It was down a little bit in 2025, mainly due to intergovernmental payments going down. Comparisons of revenue to expenses. The blue and the light blue are expenditures in nominal and constant dollars. Nominal being our dollars per capita, constant dollars being adjusted for inflation. You can see that our expenses are just a tiny bit higher than our revenue, which are the orange columns. But nothing to be concerned about. We're hoping in our plan that we've been talking about for the past couple of years that we're going to see that flip, hopefully in 2026.
It is 2026, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
But he's only got up to 2025.
Yeah,
2026
these numbers are 2025, so hopefully when we look at
I
these
see what you're
numbers
saying.
next
I'm sorry.
year, we'll see them.
Okay.
The breakdown of expenditures by function, you can see that there is a large amount in 1 year under Public Works. That's mainly due to projects that we did that year. And you can see the large one under Community Services. Those were parks that we built. And in debt, that was the year that we refinanced the debt. So this is also, you can see it's pretty stable from year to year without those, those individual outlier years.
Yep.
Our benefits. Our benefits as a total of wages have been stable, running about 55% over the last 50 to 55% over the last 5 years. The year where you see where it's 37.18, that was the COVID year. As you might know, our health insurance is self-funded, so we pay for whatever doctor bills, hospital bills that the employees incur, and nobody was allowed to go to the doctors during COVID, so the doctor bills dropped, and that's why you only see 37%. We're going to be making some changes in some of the employee contributions, so hopefully we'll see this 55% come back down closer to the line, which is at probably about 52.5. But we are stable with that. Our unfunded pension ratio is favorable. It has been favorable. If when you go to the PML, you talk to anybody about pensions, a lot of people are severely underfunded in pensions. Here at Patton Township, we are not. We are, in this case, in 2025, we were 99% funded. So that's excellent. And as long as we continue to make the MMO, the municipal minimum obligation, that we're required to make, we will continue to see that high of funding. So that, and of course that means that our assets that we have cover our liabilities for the pension funding. So that is favorable. Our liquidity is stable. You can see that our ratio of cash to current liabilities, we still have more cash than we have current liabilities. It's leveled out. I expect that also in 2026 to start trending back up again as we get more cash in the bank, more fund balance. Our ratio to long-term debt to assessed values, to our assessments, is favorable. Anytime you see there's an uptick in that graph, that's a year we borrowed money. We borrowed in 2017, we refinanced. In 2021, we borrowed from a PIB loan, and since then, we're paying down. So that will continue to go down until the next time we borrow again. Okay? So that is favorable. The Center County unemployment rate is stable. It's at 3.2%. It is lower than the state in Center County. It's also lower than the national. National average is 4.2%. And the state, I think, is 3.5. I didn't mark it down. But we continue in Center County to have a lower unemployment rate. That is good for us because it continues to make our earned income tax, revenue, it doesn't vary widely with unemployment. And that's it. So I will take any questions that anybody would have on the report.
Outstanding.
Any questions? Yeah, thank you. That's
Outstanding.
Are you anticipating we'll need to raise?
Our plan
taxes?
was one more year of raising taxes, yes.
What, planning on doing at this, which for
And
2027?
2027.
Yes. So
That was our
the
plan,
millage rate would go
and then
up.
maintain that for a couple of years and then lower it.
And I might add that your next meeting, September 9th, we were working with the Pennsylvania Economy League on that study to look at an amusement tax or a mechanical devices tax. So they will actually be presenting that report to you at that meeting. So you'll have all the information moving forward.
this September.
September 9th, yep.
Oh, September, for some reason I heard next year.
And will that be an
That's
option
exciting.
I'm having that we can?
Yeah, it's an option. It's not a ton of revenue, but it's an option that we can
It's an
talk about.
option of another way to
Diversify.
generate revenue by, these machines that we have at various places that we can.
And what would be the establishment time of that, if we decided to do it?
We can talk about that on the 9th.
In September, okay,
Yep.
great, fair enough.
I don't want to steal their thunder because they're really awesome people to work with.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
great.
They've worked very hard on this.
No, it was a great idea. I remember whoever came up with it. Is that, whatever, it was great. I remember when it was first proposed. Thank you for that. Let's see. I guess we're on to the request. Wait a minute. Did I skip something? Oh,
For the
Board
C-
input on the
CIP.
yes.
CIP.
So I'm just
CIP.
going to preface this by saying that typically we include this item on every agenda between now and when you get the CIP. If you're okay with it, I'm not going to continue to put it on every item. I gave you a copy of the CIP electronically. I can provide you another copy. We would love to have your input if there's any items you would like us to see. What I will do instead of putting it on the agenda is I'll put it in my manager's report each time. So just as a reminder, but we would love your input if there are any projects or programs you would like us to pursue.
So we should just give those to you individually?
Yes.
And not now? Okay.
Or you can give it to us at a meeting, that's fine too, but
Yeah, for sure. Anybody have anything they want to jump off with?
Heidi has a question.
Okay. Any question?
Because I was on open space, you have some line items for that. I was wondering, we had talked, I can't remember the time frame for submitting for a potential grant or whatever. Are we doing that?
Which grant, for the road?
Heimer or something like that?
Oh, the Hamer Foundation. Yeah, so Katie Omvalsky and I are actually going to be meeting in the next couple of weeks to go over budget items and requests and things. And one of the items from open space that will come into the CIP for you guys for the next couple of years is Heritage Trail Road actually needs to be taken care of. It's got some runoff issues and some other things.
Okay.
So we're going to pursue some grant funding for that as well, but we'll start to put that in the CIP as well moving
Because
forward.
Also, the development of the, I forgot what it's called, the one,
The Seward property.
the Seward property. I saw just a fairly small amount of money for that.
Yeah, we have money in there to do some trails in the parking area, yep.
Oh, it does include the parking area, because it wasn't clear to me that it was. Okay,
Yep.
good, because that seemed a critical part of it.
Yep.
Okay, good, because I'd like to have the community be able to enjoy
Yep.
that. So that's on there, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and we'll make sure, and I know I think we put that in the CIP last year, but we'll make sure that those items continue to move forward. We had that plan done by our intern last summer on how we could better engage folks with those properties, and I think it's very important that they understand that they should be using these open space properties. They're not just for sitting there and looking at from the side of the road.
Yeah, because it's really nice. And then, I'm supporting, obviously, and we've already approved for the bike link. I'm just stunned at how much it cost for that, was that Grayswood connection you have projected in there? And I was going to ask, if I can ask just real quickly of Brian, that you're planning to widen on Circleville, the actual trail in there to make it so it's, I guess, compatible with it's 6 feet to 8 feet or something like that?
On Circleville Road?
No, on the park, Circleville Park.
Oh, yes, they're going to widen it. I think
If you do that, will that mean they'll plow? Snow plow?
So they only plow the northern section now because that's the part that's part of the accessible, part of the route. the
Yeah, but
bike
if,
route.
once that happens, will they plow that? You'll make it part of the link?
We can discuss this.
Discuss it. Okay, just thinking. Okay.
So you're not the only one to ask the question.
Ask the long-distance runner.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes a 3-mile loop there, but a lot of people use it, because
They
I
do.
was gonna take photos, but I wouldn't, then on my camera, show all the footprints in the snow of people trying to use that trail. Yeah, it's not just me. Okay.
So one other thing that I'll offer under this capital improvement plan item, but it stands for as we move into budget season, I would like to, because I've told Heidi we would do some orientation, and I've
Yes.
fallen down on my job here. So what I would like to do is I would like to set up so that you can do a ride-along with the chief, and he can explain things in the police department. You can sit with Ryan and do a ride-along with one of our public works crew and see what they do, because we're gonna have some changes with their equipment and other things. And then also have Susan Wheeler take you out, anybody who hasn't done the parks tour. I don't think, Heidi, you've done it yet.
I haven't, I've been trying to do it a
But
little
sit
on
with,
my own, but.
sit with Susan Wheeler and then come in with Larry, the mastermind of all of this, and talk about some of the other items, so that as we go into CIP and budget, you have a very good idea of the types of things that we're trying to do here and where we're spending and how we're spending our funds.
I would be delighted.
And that's open for everybody, not just Heidi. We would do for everybody. So I will get together, we'd like to do it in September, so we'll get together some dates and.
I ended up crashing on Ryan's office the other day.
That's
So-
awesome.
I enjoyed it.
I learned about the.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, that's good.
A lot of good
Yeah,
questions, I'm sure.
It was very helpful, and the tool he was able to show me, I forgot the name of it now, but Pace or something like that?
Paver.
Paver, I should remember that name, yeah.
Yeah, so we will get those
Delighted.
dates and times set up, and then, like I said, you can spend some time with our amazing department heads and learn a little bit more about how we do things here.
And I can't crash chief's office, because you got it locked.
Yeah, we'll let you in.
You can.
We'll get you in
I
there.
didn't think I was allowed.
You can
in.
just, yeah, you can ask, or you can
just
come
have to
get
get
me. I got the
permission.
magic fob. I can let you in.
We'll get you in.
Yeah, all you have to do is go there and say, I'd like to talk to chief.
They'll get him.
They'll buzz you right back in there.
Yeah?
I thought part of it might be because if you had people in there that you know, you're checking their identity or something.
There are some,
Probably-
yeah, there's some regulations we would have to escort.
Okay.
They would check you for
We'll do that.
For weapons.
Weapons, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Confiscate those.
Anyway, so no, I am very eager.
Yes. That's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is exciting. I have one thing to add already. I'll do that later. So we're on to item C, which is the appointment of the delegates to the PML Annual Summit, and that is limited to the people who are going to the PML Summit.
Yeah, so it's Pam, Heidi, and Susan are going. And this year it's a little different. They're actually doing the Resolutions Committee meeting online on October 1st at 9:30. And then the person also needs to go to the annual business meeting, which is on October 9th at 9:30, which is during the conference. So we need a member and an alternate, delegate and an alternate.
Let's see.
Bless you.
Susan's not here.
Yeah,
I'll be
she's
an
off.
alternate.
You'll be an alternate?
Can I, I'm willing to do it if I can get prepped like you prepped me before for the
Yeah, I'll help you.
resolution.
There's way less resolutions for this one.
Thank goodness.
Okay.
Thank you all.
You want to make a
'Cause we're
motion?
going.
They always ask if we've done a motion.
Yeah, let's do a motion. Hey, Sutan. You want to make a motion? Since two of the people, I don't want any of the two, either of the two people who are involved in the motion to make it. So we want to see Heidi as the representative, voting rep.
Yeah, and Pam is the
And Pam is the
as
alternate.
And Sutan just said so moved, so we just need a second.
Oh, so I didn't even hear that. Okay, so we got a second, I guess you, all right, moved and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. We've got our rep and our alternate. Addison Court funding request.
So the-
And this is for discussion only, right? Or no?
Well, if you
Well,
want to contribute,
yeah,
but,
right.
so the
Gotcha.
borough reached out, you may have seen in the papers that they're trying to negotiate an agreement to purchase Addison Court, which is a low-income housing complex for seniors and persons with disabilities. That project was constructed in 1994, and they used the state tax credits to do that. Those tax credits only have a 40-year lifespan, so they expired in 2024. So the borough asked us, College, and Ferguson to see if we'd consider a small donation towards the purchase. It's less about contributing towards the purchase and more about contributing toward the cause of keeping affordable housing for folks, which is what the manager told us. And we previously, the three of us previously did the same when we helped the Sylvan Heights property, which was for sale last year. So if you want to do some kind of donation towards the sale, I would just recommend to keep it in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, because again, Mr. Fontaine indicated they weren't looking for a substantial amount of money like we did for Sylvan Heights.
Can we ask Larry, what can we contribute?
I would go 5.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I would go 5.
That was my inclination, but,
Mine too.
okay. Then I guess we need a motion.
I'll make a motion for,
For
we needed a motion.
5,000? And we need a second?
Donating 5,000.
Second.
Okay, we've got that. And now we need a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5,000 it is. Our next item is the consent agenda, which, as you know, contains several items, including the trick-or-treat night. Let's do that. And we just simply vote on whether we think each item within that bundle is okay to move to pass along without discussion.
Question.
Oh, there we go. Then you want to pull an item?
I just want to ask Amy, the Happy Valley Comic Con? Is this the first year? Have we always done this?
We did it last year for them.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
And we did not have any issues at all. He's an amazing person to work with.
Okay, fine.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion to accept the consent agenda.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion and second. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, and we are on now to bring out the other drum roll, the manager's report.
All right, since it's late in the hour, I won't take up a ton of time, just a couple of things. Number one, we got a Green Light Go grant to do some pedestrian and other upgrades at the light at Colonnade and Coles.
Colonnade, Coles,
And Waddle, and it's a $69,000 grant, I believe. 69.
And this helps to coordinate the timing?
No, this is for some pedestrian facilities.
ADA improvements in the
Oh.
installation of push buttons to make them compliant.
Okay.
So we have to give a huge shout out to Michelle Marrow, our engineer,
course.
because she's the master grant writer and she gets us all these funding.
So it was 69,000?
Yeah, and we are very appreciative of that. And then I want to talk very briefly about the hauling related to the school district, because this has been, there's been a lot of changes with it. So I want to make you aware of kind of what's going on with it. So if you remember, at last month's meeting, we had approved a temporary use permit for Curve Hill Road, and then we had found out they intended to take the fill to Grace Point because they need it for the next phase that they're building out there. So we had worked with them and we had asked for this excess maintenance agreement. We asked them not to haul between the AM and the PM peak hours because of traffic concerns in Valley Vista. We've asked for Amblewood Way to be built as a construction entrance. We thought all of this was moving forward, and then the contractor who's actually doing the work came back and they said, you don't have any legal authority to make us do an excess maintenance agreement because the road isn't weight restricted and you don't have a bonding requirement. And they basically contested all the things that we were asking them to do, including core sampling of our roads. And they said, and then we found out they had applied for a permit for Curve Hill Road for way more fill than what was actually coming from the school district. So we told them if you wanted to use Curve Hill Road as a permanent fill site, there's a process to do that, and we explained that to them. And then we had a meeting with their attorney, Betsy, the attorney for the Grace Woods developer, and talked with them, and it became obvious that there were some things that we couldn't, because we don't have the road isn't weight restricted, there were some things we couldn't stand on. So we ended up we had a couple more calls, Ryan and I, this is all, and more Ryan than I, but this is all we've done the last probably week now. But we had another call with Betsy, and then I reached out to the school district, and I said, after talking with the chief, I said, could you just limit hauling from 3 to 4:30, because that's the height of the students leaving school on buses and the parents, and can you do the Amblewood Way construction entrance, because we had wanted that, and what was the other thing? I'm losing my mind. Oh, traffic control plan. Can you give us a traffic control plan? Because they had said, we'll do flaggers and all the things. So the school district came back and said, we're not going to do the restriction for the hauling, but we're going to reroute buses to come out on Carnegie at the traffic signal, so some of those buses won't be in with the trucks. Hallbaker's saying it's only going to be 10 to 12 trucks a day coming out of the site. It's not going to be all the trucks at once. So they will build the Amblewood Way construction entrance. The school district said they will give us an update on that in September, as was requested by the Planning Commission. We will be getting a traffic control plan to look at, and they will not restrict hauling. So traffic may be a bit of a challenge at times on Valley Vista as they're hauling out. They are going to have ostensibly some flaggers out there as well, but it has been a very frustrating process. There are too many cooks in the kitchen on this, and there needs to be one person kind of leading all of this. We do now have a contact for their construction manager, who has been very nice to deal with, so that's a plus, but it has eaten up a lot of our staff time, and it's not been really the way a project should be run, so we've been working through it.
So all those things that were agreed to, kind of...
They claim that the person that was here representing Hawbaker Engineering didn't represent the contractor, and so they didn't agree to those items.
And we can't do anything about it? So that means the whole thing about the condition of the road, we'll just have to take it as it...
Yes.
Whatever damage that they do, they don't pay for it, and the school doesn't pay for it or anything?
Correct.
We just have to suck it up?
Correct. Yeah, and we told them that I had spoken with Mr. Hawbaker himself, who said he was fine with the excess maintenance agreement, and they said that wasn't the case.
It said that what?
That wasn't the case.
Oh.
And they said that their attorney said you legally can't require it, because he's right, our road is not weight restricted. We don't have, there's Pennsylvania law about this, and we don't have that on that road. But that road is a local limited access highway. And we were trying to do this is when we were told that all this was going to Curve Hill Road. So we were giving a permit and doing all of this as a condition of that temporary use permit. Then we found out that, I think they had other plans for Curve Hill Road, I don't know. And then at the last second, we found out that no, everything's going to Gray's Point because they need the fill for their next stages of development. So this project has been a challenge.
So I remember you telling us at one of the meetings when we were trying to get approval about how much fill was going in all the trucks, and it's just a massive amount. They're saying they're not going to do nearly that much?
No, they're still doing that much. It's just, it's not going to be 13,000 trucks the first day. It's over 3 years. It's going to be 10 to 12 trucks a day.
So that part is true then?
Yes.
Okay, it's not as massive, okay. All right.
Yes, please.
It's not 12 trucks a day, we're going to utilize 12 trucks to haul. So their haul time cycle is basically one truck every hour.
Yeah.
So they'll make 12 trips.
Each truck will.
Each truck will make 12
So that means
trips.
12 an hour, 12 trucks an hour? That's really what it is.
12 round trip trucks.
80 loads, 80, 90
So
loads.
140 a day, a 12-hour day, 134.
Oh yeah, that's way more than what I understood on the call. Thank you, Ryan.
So, I mean, that's a 12-hour day. They're probably,
Oh,
they're going to be
wow.
working 7 to 7.
I was only thinking 8.
Well, so those conditions of the 7 to 8:30 p.m. went with the Curve Hill site, but that's no longer an option as the Curve Hill because that discussion is null now because they're not taking the bill.
So they're going to go down Valley Vista and then with all that traffic during peak traffic times too, right? They won't adjust there.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Okay. Well.
Yeah, and I stand by, we're not taking the phone calls. If people call us and they're upset, they need to call the school district because it's not our project.
I appreciate what you've tried to do. I'm sorry it's been so frustrating. I mean, the whole staff and everything. Because you're trying to protect Patton Township.
Did you have a question?
So.
Oh, I thought you were trying to.
Yeah, well, I'm digesting because this is right in my neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's right where I am. And for them to disregard this board with such disrespect, I'm livid. I don't care, I don't know about you guys, but I am beyond livid that they sat here knowing they had a representative speaking for them, laying out plans that we were under the impression with our solicitor.
And the entire school board was at our meeting.
Thank you.
And the entire school board was at the planning commission meeting. And had Ryan not talked to somebody the Friday before the planning commission meeting, we never would have known of the plan to go to Gray's Point. There is a complete lack of transparency that is appalling.
Did the school board know that? School board member know that essentially a bait and switch? How much do they know?
I don't know that. I don't know.
It's hard to say.
For it to come back on us and our taxpayers
Yeah. And there,
is beyond.
Pardon?
What was that, Sutan? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said it would probably be helpful to let the school board know because of some of the treatment that we received anyway.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
It would be helpful if you wanted to do a reach out as elected officials to them.
I would.
We did, when we contacted them earlier this week about our concerns, I did include the superintendent and the facilities manager on that email. So it would be helpful if you reached out as elected officials to the other elected officials on the
I
school
would like
board.
them to come to this board and explain to us.
So maybe even the chair and vice chair.
And,
But earlier, we were advised not to have any conversation with them. I
The
guess.
plan's been approved now, so now you can have a
Now we
conversation with them.
So it was only before the approval.
And if, Madam Chair, if that's okay with you, I would like them to come before this board
Well, I would ask,
so they can hear from us
yeah. I mean, I think we can,
as a polite invitation.
or at least ask, if nothing else, ask the chair and vice chair.
Yeah.
The vice chair lives also one block off of Valley
Yeah, very
Vista.
much affected as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because you at least have a back door and you can go, you can leave via Atherton, but you can't. You have to go on Centerville Road.
Circleville, but it's not going to be on Circleville.
Yes, it will.
No, they're hauling only on Valley Vista.
Only on Valley Vista, but they have to go to Grace
Circleville's
Woods.
substandard for that weight.
Oh,
Yeah,
are
they
they going to
can't.
go, they're going to go Valley Vista towards?
To 99, to Atherton, Valley
Towards
Vista
Atherton.
across Atherton to.
Oh, so we'll be
up on
okay too.
99.
Okay.
But off of Amblewood Way and then Carnegie.
No, they're building a new Amblewood Way. They're not using your Amblewood Way.
Okay.
They're going to reroute buses your way
Right.
to Carnegie.
Oh,
But the trucks are they're building a new construction entrance because the concern from the Planning Commission and I think the rest of us was that there's a conflict with the park on Little Lion.
yeah.
So they're building the construction entrance, so it'll be, eventually that's going to be one of the entrances to the school.
right.
But it'll be across from your Amblewood Way.
Okay, but it's still that traffic coming, if you don't put that time limit, you got the buses going on
And the
Valley
parents.
Vista. The parents going on Valley Vista. It's gonna be a
Well,
nightmare.
all commuters.
Yeah, it's going to be a
I've
nightmare.
already gone like 5 or 6 cycles to get out on Valley Vista in the summer.
Yeah,
So it's going to be really, really bad.
It stacks on Valley Vista now.
Yeah.
In the afternoon peak hour.
And morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all those multiple lights and then
And talk about culture, that's hard to change. People expect to use that, so they don't think of using Atherton. Maybe they'll learn that. So I don't mind inviting them, but I think it's one thing to show the disappointment, upset, the anger, but I think the purpose of it ultimately is to change behavior going forward not that there are any major school projects going forward, but simply the idea of transparency
Yes.
with whatever governing body they're dealing with, and, asking the questions and making sure they've got, that the consultants they are working with have a transparency with them that then can be transparent with us. So,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how helpful it would be or productive for them to actually come to our forward meeting. I think just being able to get out the message of, what has occurred and, to your point, Betsy, whether or not we have projects, in the future with the school board and school, we're not exactly sure, but I mean, there was a lack of sort of like fidelity and partnership, like to the process. And I think some of the narratives over the duration of this trying to get approved, narratives about Patton Township and what we were not going to be helpful to move this process forward.
yeah.
I think it would just be helpful for them to like understand.
For them to what?
That, I think we were in our position, we were in the right, throughout this process. And yes, some of the treatment that our staff, our townships have received from some of those stakeholders were problematic. So, I mean, I probably would write a letter or something like that going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not productive, but it actually come to our board meeting.
Yeah.
Where they take it.
Yeah, I think a letter would be the way to go
Okay.
in this
Okay.
scenario.
Would you feel comfortable penning that, or do you want?
Sutan, did you say, do you want to help me write a letter? Do you want to write a letter?
Yeah, I'm helping, I'm happy to.
Yeah, that sounds.
Distribute it, support to make sure that the language goes good, our voice.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds good, thanks. Yeah.
And then the only last thing I have under my manager's report, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ryan Scanlon, your Public Works Director, to talk about Circleville Park and the parking. Larry, can you pull up the manager's report?
So while Larry's pulling it up, so over the last year, we've gotten a lot of 4 comments, 5 comments, and then several phone calls about concerns over safety during events out at Circleville Park as far as school, not school, but soccer fields and Little League, and just park usage in general. During certain occasions, certain events, with center soccer there and baseball or just a tournament in itself. People have a tendency to park along Circleville Road on, I guess, the east side, on the park side of the road, and it lines it. They're parking right on the edge of the road, opening doors, and it's pretty congested. Susan Wheeler and myself performed a site visit to see what additional remedy that we could do in-house as a pilot study, kind of. And it's a very movable pilot study. And what we came up with is to provide temporary parking in the grass island, kind of between the 2 entrances of the park. There's a grass strip there. We can put in 30-foot parking spaces.
I've got it on.
He's pulling it up right now.
Package, yeah.
Larry's got it.
There you go.
Can I use your mouse? Yeah. Okay. So right now, motorists park, there's a split rail fence here. They park the whole way up, basically to the community gardens, and then they fill into the community gardens. We've restricted that parking in the community gardens, so we don't really see that impact anymore, but we do still see them parking where it says no parking on here. Okay? So in order to enhance that parking and to provide additional parking, this is the area right here. These stalls, and then these stalls here.
Oh, good.
we need to restrict them from being able to pull straight out on the Circleville Road. So we're going to be putting, with your approval, put in bumper blocks that would restrict vehicles to be able to just drive straight through onto Circleville Road. And it would provide 27 additional parking spots here. There are 8 other stalls here that we could install. That's kind of the if needed area.
Where are you showing that? Where's the other 8?
Here in the middle. Can you see my cursor?
Oh,
here you go.
Heidi?
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I saw, you have it marked up in the one I'm looking at. Yeah, okay.
Yep. There's another one. Can you look at the page 1 of that?
I don't know if that's on there.
Would you have these barriers up for the soccer season then?
Yeah, so we would implement that. There it is. There's a zoomed in figure. So it takes about 2 weeks to get the bumper blocks. So this would be implemented in the next couple of weeks at with your approval. So like I said, we would only paint the ones along Circleville Road for now. And then if needed, we would have these additional 8 stalls here. The stalls along Circleville Road would provide more additional parking than what's allotted along Circleville Road now.
Yeah.
So we're gaining stalls by just adding those 27 stalls. So this year, Center Soccer will not be using this facility in the fall. It's being taken with the school district. So since the construction's up at Park Forest Middle School this year, that field is no longer available during that construction. So the school district will be utilizing this facility.
Because they just ripped it up.
They
right?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's not tore up yet, but there is fencing up and it is restricted.
Well, we drove by it. It looked pretty ripped up.
Oh, so the soccer field's in the park.
Oh, maybe I didn't see it.
Sits up
Okay.
on top of the hill there.
Yeah.
So this is kind of our attempt to alleviate the parking issues. We will, like I said, we'll have the bumpers along Circleville Road and then also provide temporary controls here at the entrance around so that it forces users to come in here. We will have a sign that will say like overflow parking, just to kind of let the users know that they can use it. It'll also help when it is painted. So we'll paint it, Susan and I will paint it initially, and then CRPA will maintain those markings throughout the season through next year.
Okay.
Okay? And if we need more parking, we'll use the other ones and we'll kind of use it as a test and grow from it.
Are you planning to do the one-way that was talked about in that meeting or not?
So, yes, we are. We're trying to look, so the one way in here and then one way out here. So one way on the lower entrance, out on the upper entrance.
Do you think you really think you need that? The reason I'm asking is that people aren't used to that.
They
so-
are, and that's the concern. That's kind of the discussion that we've had in-house. So we might lead to that, I should say. Initially, we're not going to do that. We're just going to have it relied on how the users are used to using it.
Okay.
The bumper blocks will be back off of the edge of the road to provide that sight distance requirements for both entrances. And this figure was laid out that way. So we're confident that this is going to work, but if we need to adjust it, we will.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that because I prefer not having them change that either. I mean, as one of the users there. I think that'll be confusing for people. If we don't need to, if there's a real strong reason, I get it, but you did a nice job with this. This is good.
Brian, how many parking spaces are already there?
Oh, in the parking lot? I'm not sure.
No, all right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And why I'm asking, are there other activities, like you talked about soccer and baseball, or are they playing at the same time, or?
So we've had this, Susan had this discussion with CRPA. So yes, they are at times. Baseball won't be utilizing this field in the fall.
Okay.
But CRPA has agreed to consider that now and reprogram the use of that facility so that we don't have that overlap like we've had forever. So.
Because I was thinking the different teams and how many people are parking in that area if you have a double team facility playing at the same time. Okay,
So,
thank you.
So my son in middle school last year, he'll be for the JV, the high school team now, they start September 2nd. So with them utilizing this now, the last couple of years, the JV team has played first, boys, and then the girls come and play right after it. They play right after one another. So you really get an overlap of them. So the parents get there first for the first team, and then the second team, they're showing up before the game's over, the match is over. There's a lot. I mean, I just was out there just driving by and checking things out before I really did this. Many of the stalls were already taken by park users themselves, and then we're adding this other event on top of it. It's a lot of use. It gets a lot of use, that facility.
They do track there too, whatever
cross-country
track.
Yeah,
competitions.
That's a fall sport as well, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes and then adjust it as needed and kind of do that. So.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, do you plan, or does CRPA plan to have staff out to make sure that the parking is, people are complying with the parking? Some people may come and just automatically park on the side of the road, I don't know. But initially, to, direct everybody into the parking lot.
So we will have signage.
That says no parking.
We'll have, so like the yellow lines, those are like, we'll call them barriers. That's just to kind of funnel people to where we want them to enter that additional lot.
Yeah.
And then enter and exit. It should run just by visuals.
Gotcha.
But we are pushing them so they can't come, just drive right out.
Yes, and you'll have
the entrance and the exit and on the Circleville. So it's following basic behavior of how they would use it.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to keep it simple.
Okay. But I'm just thinking habits are hard to break sometimes.
Yep.
And so, because you also have a yellow line between the parking area and the community garden entrance.
Yes, so we will put a barrier there as well across those whole limits, and that barrier might be a cone with rope or something for flagging, different than what we did out at Grayswood Boulevard.
Okay.
Because that was, it was a maintenance issue. The wind would stretch the tape out, the caution tape, and it was just flying all over the place. So it'll be something more permanent, but temporary. We won't install signs. It won't be like something like that, but.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think puts pressure on the parking, I don't remember what time frame, but there's a time when I think the parking won't be available for people using the park from the Valley Vista entrance, right?
Yeah,
because of the school construction.
Yeah.
So that for a while then those parkings won't be available.
Yeah, so we met with the CM and Hall Baker today on site to kind of go over like a little kickoff meeting with the Township, the CM, and the site contractor. And I believe it was the end of September is when that was going to be restricted, where they're going to remove the pavement and restrict that access.
So it's only in September?
I believe so. I think it was 2 weeks. I made the remark that we can't make them do it, but maybe put up a message board or some sort of guidance, letting the public or the users know that in a week or 2 weeks that they won't be able to access this point. And they made notes, and it seemed like they were going to agree to that. So I will say the CM, the site contract manager, has been very forthcoming with information, keeping us very involved, and not overly involved, but just communicating very well. So it's been pleasant to work with them so far.
Great. Okay. Yeah, thanks for all your work on this. And keeping it open and civil is important. Okay, we are at, anything else?
No.
Okay, so we're at committee reports. Does anybody have anything? I know Pam, you submitted a report. Thank you very much. Anybody have anything they want to?
The only thing I wanted to say, and I know, is if people don't know, when I went to that meeting that I keep forgetting the name of it,
Yeah, you did for me.
that there's gonna be another, or there is already in the process, the DRI, for the sewer boundary, and that's from Tussey, so that's
Tussey
gonna be
Mountain.
coming up,
Yeah.
with your meeting in general form, if you haven't already seen it.
Yeah,
Tussey's
Anyway, we supported it unanimously in that committee meeting.
Yeah, Tussey's a different kind of request than the one you had
Yeah,
before.
Ben Estelle spoke to that at the executive committee meeting, essentially saying that it would be a lot smoother.
Yeah, Tussey already has sewer to their property. They're just not allowed to upsize or move the line because it was written in when they had a failure in the 1980s maybe, and it was written into the 537 plan, and they have new owners who want to actually redevelop the resort, the property, and have it more of a destination place, and they really need that sewer line moved.
Right.
And because of the way it's written in the plan. This is a lot like, and you guys were not all here when this happened, but Center County Paws, when Center County Paws was built, Paws is literally right next to the sewer plant, but it was outside the sewer service area. And when they were building their new shelter, they came in and said, we really can't build an animal shelter on septic. And it was like a no-brainer because it was right, I mean, literally, when I go to volunteer at Paws on Thursday nights, I see the sewer plant. It's right next door. And with Tussey, they have the sewer. They're on public sewer. They just need the ability to be in the sewer service area so they can move their line and upsize it.
Great. And I just wanted to mention another thing from the executive committee, that the search for the fire director is moving along swimmingly, if that's the right word for fire director. And they've been very pleased with the process and the candidates, so that's good news for us. Yeah. So September 12th, we should get the final assessment.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, yeah, I'm still on me. So, any other business? And then,
Motion to adjourn? So, no?
she says, hopefully?
So moved.
Yes. Great, we don't need a second. So there we go. We've moved to adjourn, so there it be. Okay. Thank you.